good morning or evening or afternoon or whatever part of the world you're in, good, whatever it is it occurs to you right now. We're back with Debate Dissections, and today we have a very special guest. We have a very special debate. One of the great lolcows of our civilization. Yes, it's Hovind. It's always Hovind because that man is so funny. Not intentionally, but wow, is he hilarious to laugh at. And we love doing it here. He is just a joke at this point, but who's not a joke is my wonderful co-host, Better Than Ember. How are you today?
Hello, hello. It's National Coming Out Day here in the land of, I guess Stars and Stripes, let's say, since Leo's got the big old flag out.
It is? Well, shit, I have
okay.
something to tell
It
you
is.
guys. I'm a philosopher. I know,
What?
it's difficult to believe, but they got me, man. They got me, wrangled me on in.
I just tried. I tried some Hume once, and I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop.
The funny thing is, I frequently joke with people that if you want to understand anything about modern analytic philosophy, start with Hume. Kant,
Yeah.
Descartes,
Kant.
Start with Hume. I say that like sort of facetiously joking, but maybe
he was the giant of his time for a reason, and Kant, with his sort of inferiority complex, there was a reason he had that too. Like, it really was tried to, one day I'll be bigger than Hume. Yeah, sorry, Kant. Sorry, mate.
Turns out he can't.
Can't. And today we have a very special guest. We have Leophillius, who I have known for ages, since the old Amy Newman Get On
2021,
and
I think.
Early
2021.
Like yeah, something like that. I think maybe
it feels like 13 years, but
it really does. It really does. I think talking to creationists has aged me a lot. But how are you, Leo? How you been? How you feeling today?
I'm doing well. I'm doing all right. I'm glad I don't have to work
good.
this weekend. I do have to work next weekend, unfortunately, but it is what it is. I only work part-time, so I'm not going to complain. And it's harvest season, so I've done it before, 12, 14-hour days out in the field or in the dump at the co-op, dumping trucks, which is what I do now because I work at a farmer's co-op. And just to answer Doc Dino's question, I think the corn, you got to do it long enough to kind of see the differences, but from what I've seen, the farmers hauling in, the corn actually looks really, really good this year. The corn in the fields looked phenomenal all year round. At least here in Iowa, we got a pretty good amount of rain this summer. Corn likes a little bit more moisture, maybe so than soybeans, but I need to start asking about yields because I would be curious to know what the yields, which would be measured here in the U.S. in bushels per acre, the gross volume of the crop that you're harvesting per acre planted of that crop. That's yield, just for the people that don't know, because I have a feeling that they were probably pretty good. But yeah, I'm doing well. I wish I could say that farmers were doing as well as me, but because we have complete morons running the most powerful nation on the face of the planet, they've decided to destroy farmers' markets and then give $20 billion to their competition. Everything's going great here in the old land of the red, white, and blue, let me tell you.
Yeah, and take away part of their workforce because, when you're heaping on the misery, you just want to make it, a triple hit on the farmers and stuff. Yeah. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
When it rains, it pours.
Uh-huh. But today we're definitely doing Ken Hovind. You only did one debate I could see on your channel, so I hope I've got the right one. It was the cosmology debate, yes. And Ken Hovind on cosmology is always fun. Now I do cut these down, so I cut out the intros, but one part of the intro I wanted to show because it was Ken Hovind's intro, and I just picked up, having debated him multiple times. I've seen a lot of debates of Hovind because, quite frankly, it always gets hilarious just how bad he is. Like I have this real. He's like the who's the guy that did The Room?
The Room.
God, yeah, The Room, the movie The Room. They did a movie about a disaster artist. Tommy Wiseau. He is the Tommy Wiseau of debate, basically. That's how I see him. Like, he is so bad, it's hilarious. Like, he is that bad that it gets sort of funny. But I did want to point this out, if you'll indulge me, from the intros. The intros were just sort of, basically stuff. No, that's not what I want. I want that one. So I just wanted to... Oh, dear. Hang on a sec. No. There we go. Okay, I just wanted to point this out. This is what happened in the intro, what he said.
Well, Kent Hovind, raised in East Peoria, Illinois, in a family of engineers and teachers, and loved physics and science and all that kind of stuff also. Ended up becoming a Baptist preacher, but for 15 years I taught science and math in high school and 3 years in college.
So he used to say, because this is from a few years ago, right? This is from a few years ago, from Leo. And
October of 2021, I think this happened.
Right. So this, he doesn't say, and I taught 3 years in college anymore. He just says he taught it in high school. So his story kind of changes as it goes along. And from what I saw, he never taught science in any school. He was a teacher's assistant, a pastor's assistant, and a teacher's assistant in a high school. And it was in a Christian high school, and then one that he himself founded. Right,
Awesome.
like, so, he's never worked as a teacher in either a high school or a college, so a teacher's assistant is not the same. It's not the same. But if you want to, we can get started on
I do have to
contemporary
say
cosmology. Yeah.
one thing quickly. I am kind of disappointed that we're not going over intros, because I don't think I'm prouder of any intro to any debate I've ever done than this one. But that should encourage people to go and watch the debate on my channel so that you can see how good of a job I did in the introduction.
Oh, I better provide a link. Oh, well, you can go to Leo's. Just go to Leo's channel and sign up. Just search for Kent Hovind. It'll come up. That's how I did it. That's how my dad did it. It's been working for everybody. And I think that I don't know how. So if you're unfamiliar with Kent Hovind, congratulations. Somehow, congratulations, you lucky duck, you. But if you're unfamiliar with him, he is a con artist. He has, the list of problems he has had, really problematic behavior down, his Wikipedia page is incredible. There should be a clickable link. That's what happened on this one. I couldn't get Ember's channel to go to a clickable link. It was really frustrating. But it should just be in the title and in the description. Oh, there we go. It's working now. Okay, so I'll update that. Right. It's in the title. It's in the title. I tried to make it as prominent as possible, so I put it in the title. So if you can't find the title, A, what the fuck, and B, you may need some help with YouTube.
Hey, what the fuck?
So if you're unfamiliar with Hovind, he basically came out as a young Earth preacher.
He came out, you say?
Well, it is coming out day, so why not? He sort of started up Dinosaur Adventureland and Young Earth I think Creation Science Evangelical was his name. There's been a lot of problems with that, even from the word go. He had his YouTube channel taken down because he did fake DMCA claims. DMCA claims, right? Against some rationality group on YouTube. So he got his channel taken down for that. Later, he started up another channel. He got it taken down for, allegedly, and I don't know what the reason was, but allegedly it was buying subs through a third party, which is a big no-no. He then took up another channel, which Emma Thorne got taken down because she did a massive video about how he's just a ban evading. And now he is starting another channel. The guy just does not learn. He does not learn. Now, there's been some videos. He's a tax protester, or at least he used to be. Basically, a sovereign citizen saying, hey, you can't tax me because I'm not this person in capital letters. You own the rights to that person who is not me. There's a whole video about it. At some point, he decided to defraud the government by structuring, which is taking out payments to try and avoid paying tax on them, and also not paying the tax for his employees. He argued they weren't employees, they were volunteers, and he was a religious institution, but critically did not actually apply for any exemption under religious institutions. He just sort of claimed it after the fact, so it didn't work very well. He also tried to sue the people prosecuting him, and they found him guilty of sort of obstruction of justice, because he was trying everything possible to obstruct them from investigating him. He also got caught, and I do have this phone call on record, he got caught telling his family, his wife, to hide some of his assets, like transfer them away, which is a big no-no if you've been done for tax. He's basically trying to hide them from the person, assessing it. So he got sent to prison for 10 years, which was a very heavy sentence, but he also sort of deserved it because he was, obstructing justice and also trying to hide his assets. So he went away for a long time. During this time, his son basically took over all of his assets, sold them off, or redistributed them in order to pay his tax bills, and then basically took the rest.
Freaking Eric.
He's not happy about that. Let's just put it that way. And he got given a plot of land in Alabama to start another dinosaur adventureland. So Ken Hovind, he doesn't ever get creative with his scam. It's always the same scam. It's always, in my opinion, it's a scam. He's registered as a homeless shelter. He gets people in to work on his dinosaur adventureland. He promises them food and board. Basically, he uses them as volunteers, not paying them anything to do, the work, unqualified work on his theme park, or he calls it. He's always flogging something, whether it's DVDs, whether it's like charts or posters or stickers or whatever. And yeah, The Weakness of Ken Hovind, the link in the chat, is an excellent documentary. He then got busted for something else, like he was protesting having to do something on his land. Like there's been a long line of problems with this guy, but the last thing he was busted for was domestic violence against his, what would it be, third wife? Was it third?
Something like that.
Third or fourth? There was Mary Jo, there was what's her name? Tokawaga? I can't remember the one. I think it was third wife. Cindy
what is
Lincoln.
it with pieces of shit and having multiple wives? You got Ken Hovind, you got Donald Trump.
Yeah.
How many wives has Elon Musk had? He's had children with multiple women.
Children. Only one wife, though, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
Like, he only married one of them. But yeah, it's like he's setting up a frigging franchise. It's ridiculous. I think that, but I don't debate him, because the last I heard, that DV charge, he'd had a bench trial, which is no jury, just the judge. Judge found him guilty, sentenced him to I believe it was like 6 months or something. But he appealed it. He's out running around. He made a video of why he didn't do it. It's just ridiculously bad, like ridiculously horrible person. But and he all through his life, this is the kind of crap that he's gotten into. So he considers himself an expert on evolution, on cosmology, on just about everything, yeah. And sort of wants to write the educational books for the schools of America. He's also recently asked Donald Trump for a pardon for his crimes that he committed, or a commutation, or an apology from the government for prosecuting him for the tax fraud he definitely did do. Right? Like, he definitely did it. Like, it absolutely was obvious. But that's the life of Kent Hovind. Grift, grift, grift. But we've got here Dodgy Donny Deals down the bottom before he starts to go more casual so he wouldn't look so much like a car salesman. Sorry, Donny, but you do, mate. You look like a car salesman, which is hilarious.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
But it's not just that he looks like one. His name is a car salesman name. Donnie Budinsky. Budinsky Auto Sales. Don't even fucking say no. Don't even fucking tell me no. Are you kidding me? I wouldn't buy a car from that place.
I don't know.
Tell you it's under 6,000 miles.
I still love the one name. The one name that I came up with him for, Strangling the Truth. Because that's what he does. He strangles the truth.
Well, he certainly, I think both of them are abusers. It's just at least Donnie, keeps to the truth and not. I mean, so Kent Hovind's a person who I see like Donald Trump. The sort of the narcissistic tendencies that he cannot tell the truth. He can't do it. He can't just go, hey, I'm unsure. I'm not sure about this thing. He will 100% dig himself in saying, I know everything. I'm the best kind of thing. It is really sad. It's really sad. Yeah, I kind of think so, Austin. Yeah, no, I understand why you feel that way. I don't mind Donnie. I just think he's grifting. But anyway, we'll get started. But that's Kent Hovind. But I must admit, he is hilarious to laugh at, because if you can sit through his ice canopy explanation and not laugh your ass off, you're a better person than I am, quite frankly.
Yeah, that's try not to laugh challenge squared.
Yeah, that ice canopy though. But anyway, we've got the debate up, so just tell me when to stop if you do want me to stop, and we'll comment on it. But here we go with Leo's introduction. Well, not introduction, his opening. What was the actual title of the debate? It's like is the Big
contemporary
Bang...
cosmology versus biblical cosmology.
I don't know how. Whatever. Like, how can you even put them side by side? Like, really? If we still
you can. It's just one of them's here, and the other one's like way the fuck up there.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if you take biblical cosmology, you're looking at things like firmament and the dome of the sky and all this. Like, really, the biblical cosmology that they're talking about is taking that contemporary cosmology and then going, oh, this could kind of fit the Bible if we look at it this way, kind of thing. They're really... what's the fallacy? It's like stolen concept, right? It's like, hey, the Bible confirms our current understanding, kind of thing, is what they're doing. They need the current understanding in order to get their modern biblical cosmology. Ay. It's terrible. Oh, and by the way, yes, I won't be here tomorrow. Instead, I will be having a guy near and dear to my heart, Mark Hovind, come in and do my birthday stream. It's going to be a lot of fun. So Mark Hovind obviously is Kent Hovind's younger, prettier brother, and we're going to have some fun, sort of playing some games, which I know Kent Hovind hates. So that's why I do it, quite frankly. But yeah, it should be a lot of fun. So come to the birthday cult tomorrow.
Who was it that you guys should know who this is? Ian Chen.
Ian. Yeah, I love Ian.
Who was it that he went to debate dressed up as Kent Hovind and they left the debate? I can't remember who that was.
I don't know, but he's done that to Kent Hovind. He's had like... And
so I think Ian has only debated Kent.
Yeah. But I don't think he left the debate. He wasn't happy about it, but I don't think he left the debate.
You might be right. It's been a while since I've seen that.
Yeah.
But I remember he showed up.
But the funniest part, because Kent Hovind calls himself Dr. Dino and likes to claim, it was Nephilim free. Okay, Austin says it was Nephilim free.
Yeah, that douchebag. I'm gonna try to keep a minimum on the F words.
Oh, thank you. Well, I Nephilim free. I debated him once, and I think he was. one of the wildest people I've ever talked to. Like the level of ridiculousness was off the chart.
Bukkake wild.
Yeah, pretty much. Look, I think that Ian is committed to the bit, and I respect that. I love Ian. Ian's fantastic. So Dr. Hovind is not a doctor. He doesn't have a PhD. He got it from Patriot University, which was like a paper mill.
Bible college.
Whatever.
She has a PhD, but it's what we call a shit PhD, which just means shit piled higher and deeper.
It's an unaccredited place, so it has as much accreditation as, you know, fairy spotting or something. Like anybody can make a school give out whatever you know, like doctorate or degree that they want. It just means that it's not real. It's just, you know, they're really relying on their own say-so. It hasn't been accredited by any educational institution, any kind of source. It doesn't mean anything. So Ian went away and got an unaccredited doctorate, and then basically said, well, I'm just as much a doctor as you then, kind of thing, because anybody can grab one of these unaccredited doctorates. And if you've ever read his dissertation, it is hilariously bad.
Hi, my name is Ken Hovind.
That is how it starts. Hi, my name is Ken Hovind. And
no
the reason
abstract, none of that stuff that you see at the top. You know, like this dissertation presented to the committee at the Harvard University by, I'm not going to say my real name, in accordance with yada, 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 for the degree of PhD in astronomy and astrophysics. I don't know, 2025, like all that stuff. None of that, no abstract.
Yep.
Nothing. Nothing.
Yep. Well, there's a reason why it starts like that, and the reason why it does is because his dissertation was, so he had all of these slides that he did with his usual spiel, where he gets up in front of crowds and goes through a PowerPoint and just hassles evolution and, you know, his flawed misunderstanding of evolution. So he just sent a transcript of all those slides in to the school, and they said, yep, good enough. You know, that's your dissertation, which is
The slides.
Absolutely terrible. Like that, I cannot tell you how bad that is and how bad it looks for him. But you know, we just laugh at him because he thinks he's a doctor. You know, he's about as much a doctor as a 2-year-old playing doctor is. He's not. Anyway, I'll start this thing going.
Dr. Pepper before I
Dr.
would trust
Pepper,
Dr. Kent Hovind.
Yep.
So the subject of tonight's debate is contemporary cosmology or modern cosmology versus biblical cosmology. And the very first caveat that I'd like to provide is that modern cosmology does not tell us anything about the origin of the universe. It doesn't tell us anything about where it came from or what is prior to the earliest moments that we can currently.
Okay, so I love this. You've cut him off from his, oh, well, you've got to tell me where the universe comes from. You know, because that's definitely where he goes. I think that, you know, it doesn't matter where the universe came from. Cosmology doesn't. Cosmogony is where the universe came from. Cosmology is not.
Measure. It does not tell us anything about that at all. So if anybody is expecting me to give them answers as to where the universe came from, nobody can, because nobody has those answers. We do not have physical models that can give us that information. The first thing I'd like to start with is the hot Big Bang model. This was the model that was initially proposed by George Lemaitre, a Catholic Jesuit priest in the 1920s. The first piece of evidence that we have for their...
Near you.
Sorry?
Hot young universes near you.
Yeah. Hot young universes are in your area.
Being a hot Big Bang is Einstein's general theory of
I think you will have a hot Big Bang.
Relativity, which is one of the most well-confirmed and well-substantiated physical theories humans have ever created. What general relativity gives us is an empirically accurate description of the structure and the dynamics of space-time, what it is and how it works, and how mass energy interacts with that space-time to give rise to a force that we all know as gravity. A man by the name of, I believe it's Alexander Friedmann, gave solutions to general relativity's equations that were exact solutions or analytic solutions for those who know their math, which gave us a dynamic space-time, a space-time that could not be static, which means it's neither expanding nor contracting, which is what the initial consensus was.
Right. It's been a long, slow road up to there, from the times where we thought that the Earth was the center of everything to the sun being the center of everything to, now we know there is no real center. It doesn't work like that. So, but that's a long time of a lot of work and scientific research. And, it's been a long road up to here. What they want to do is go back to the Bible and go, oh, yeah, the people, 6,000 years ago got it right. Really?
And
Really?
just as a side, it was the Friedman solution that that pushed Einstein to develop his cosmological constant, because he looked at this and was like, well, shit, we all believe space-time is static, but my own theory is effectively saying it can't be. So I will just put this constant here that I can make positive if space is contracting and negative if space is expanding, and keep it static. And all you haters, and then like 20 years later, Einstein was like, yeah, no, that was dumb. I don't know why I did that. And then 20 years after that, we were like, no, but wait, we actually need that. Let's put it back in. So yeah, like Mark said, cosmology's been all over the place even over the last 100 years. Now that doesn't mean that we don't know our shit. I shouldn't say our, because I'm not technically, but I'm speaking about humans, not just specifically cosmologists. But yes, this is how science can be quite messy. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't trust it. That doesn't mean it doesn't work. That doesn't mean we're not going to continue using it. It just means that we're humans, we're imperfect, and it takes us time and a hell of a lot of collaboration with others to develop the best models that we have.
Yeah,
and as somebody sorry, Ems, go.
The main point of science is we expect to be wrong. The goal is to become less wrong. And so, Einstein writes his equations and they look all beautiful and whatnot. And then Friedman writes him a letter. This is beautifully detailed in Simon Singh's book on the Big Bang, because he tells the stories of how these theories came to be. And Einstein's original version of general relativity, he hadn't calculated the possibility of an infinite universe. He used a variable that represented an infinitely increasing but still finite large number. And Friedman wrote him back and went, that doesn't actually work though. A number, no matter how big, is not the same as infinity. When you use infinity, this is what you get. And Einstein went, oh shit, well, we can't have that. Here's a cosmological constant to fix things.
Well, and the whole adage that sort of all theories are inaccurate, some are useful, right? So all models are inaccurate, some are useful. So we're always looking to refine our models of the universe to be more and more and more and more precise. And I think this is what Leo's getting at, where we kind of know that, like that, for instance, dark matter and dark energy. We know that there's something inaccurate. The inability to come up with a consistent model between quantum and macro level. It's a we know that we're missing things all over the place, but that doesn't mean that the models aren't accurate enough to get a view on the world, and it doesn't mean that they're not incredibly useful to use. It just means that we need to refine them. What that doesn't mean is that we go back thousands of years and go, oh, well, let's just believe whatever these people who had no idea that there were even, other suns, like that the stars were other suns or whatever, let's not do that, because that won't get us closer to what the actual truth is.
Imagine thinking that. Imagine being like the first guy to look at the sun and then at night look up and go, you fucking know what, motherfucker? I think. Waits till day comes again, looks at the sun. Night comes and he just looks back up and goes, I think those are like the sun. They're just really far away.
Yeah, and then
that would happen.
Would
just beat the most.
Yeah. But then he tells somebody and gets stoned to death, that's basically
the how dare you go against the word of God?
Yeah, exactly. So let's not go back to those days because, Yeah.
But I wanted to bring just one more thing up to sort of draw home this idea that science It's never one person. Is that the metric
Right.
that's used in general relativity for the standard model today has 4 names. Friedman is the first name. It's the Friedman, Lemaitre, Robertson, Walker, or the FLRW metric.
Okay.
Friedman solutions in doing this give the scale factor, which is a measure of the expansion of spacetime as a function of the mass energy density of that spacetime, and what we get is a spacetime which is expanding. Einstein initially introduced something called the cosmological constant, which is a fudge factor into the equations to correct for the initial assumptions drawn from those equations that spacetime must be dynamic. He later retracted this and called it the biggest blunder of his career. The second piece of evidence for the hot Big Bang is Hubble's observed galactic redshift. In 1929, Edwin Hubble made an observation that galaxies that are very, very distant from us appear redshifted, and the more red they appear, the further away they are. What this means is that it isn't the galaxies that are moving, it's the space between us and the galaxies that is expanding. And if we can measure that spacetime is expanding, we can inverse the functions, and we can sort of contract the universe in a conceptual manner, and providing some corrections for modern observations to the initial derivations, we can end up with an age of roughly 13.78 billion years.
That's
One
been up
minor
to
note.
14.6, I think.
Oh yeah, we're
13.78.
the numbers constantly being refined as we bring in more data. But Slipher published in 1922 and Hubble published in 1924. It doesn't change any of the actual data. The only reason I mention it is because the universe has been more than the Milky Way for 100 years, and that's exciting.
What is it? Vestoslifer? Is that the name?
I think
Something like that. I know it's very weird and cool sounding. I remember that much.
Yeah.
Sounds like something from the Matrix. No, this is Vestoslifer.
Proof we live in a
Third piece of
simulation.
Yeah, okay. Let's not go to simulation theory, please. Please.
Evidence is the cosmic microwave background, and this is often cited as the most powerful evidence for the hot Big Bang model. Given the model that Lemaitre had proposed and its corroboration by Hubble's observations, what we found is that, well, there should be, or what we thought is that there should be some sort of radiation that permeates all of spacetime that's sort of remnant from this very, very dense, very hot region in the universe's history. And in 1965, by complete accident, 2 physicists by the name of Arno Penzias and Robert Wilson discovered this. And later measurements of what they discovered by numerous satellites that have gone beyond Earth's atmosphere, so we know this isn't the result.
That is one of the funniest stories in science, how they were trying to get rid of this ambient noise that was permeating every direction they turned their satellite telescope in. So they were just picking up this ambient noise, and they were doing everything possible to try and get rid of it, not realizing that they'd found what these other scientists had postulated should be there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Gamma and Alpha were like eating their hearts out, and these fuckers had found the damn thing and were trying to get out of their signal.
I think it's really funny that like the remnant radiation of the very early universe is smacking into Earth, and it's going, look, humans, I am here. And these guys are like, yeah, it's probably just bird shit.
Yep. And Leo isn't joking. They were basically cleaning the dish, trying to get all of the pigeon poop off of it because they thought that might be the source of this noise. But like, what is just a slap in the face to the people that worked so hard to postulate it is the people that found it by accident got the Nobel Prize because they found it. By complete accident. I mean, that's gotta sting. That's gotta sting. But yeah, but that's the way it goes. You know, they had worked really hard, calibrated their telescope, got this noise. Yeah. It sucks.
Of any atmospheric scattering have confirmed that this is indeed the cosmic microwave background radiation remnant from a very, very hot and very...
So I think it's really weird. So as I understand it, I do not believe Peter Higgs was involved with the discovery of the Higgs boson, but he still got the Nobel Prize for it. Like, why did the people who theorized the CMB not get the Nobel Prize, but the people who discovered it did? But then Peter Higgs gets the Nobel Prize for theorizing the Higgs boson. And I don't know if anybody who was actually on the team that discovered it got one. Maybe. I don't know. But
maybe
I don't think so.
I don't know.
It's very peculiar. So there is a little bit of arbitrariness in the way the Nobel Committee, which shifts members over the years. So the decision they made in the 1960s, it's going to be different decision makers in the present day. But also sometimes you can include the theoretician, but the tradition is the person who makes the discovery and then puts in the work to try to show that it is the discovery, that they've ruled out other possibilities and demonstrated the thing is the thing. And alpha and gamma. Another factor, the reason Hubble never won a Nobel is they can't be awarded posthumously. And I'm not sure
I think that's so fucking dumb. I'm sorry. I just think it's
really
so stupid.
is, but I'm not sure when Gamow died, because he was getting up there.
Can we just agree that Trump does not deserve the Nobel Peace Prize? Can we just all agree on that?
Greta Thunberg is more deserving of it than
absolutely. Yeah.
I think she's more deserving of it than the person that got it. Not that they're a bad choice, but so it was Peter Higgs and then Francois Englert, who are two of the three that technically developed what most people know as the Higgs mechanism, is technically the Brow-Englert-Higgs mechanism for Robert Brow, Francois Englert, and Peter Higgs. But Brow would have been dead at this point, so it can't be awarded posthumously. So it went to Francois Englert and Peter Higgs.
Okay. Yeah. Nobels can never be awarded posthumously.
God, that's so dumb.
I know.
Dense period very early in the universe's evolution. This provides powerful confirming evidence that the universe originated in a very hot, very, very dense state. And the final piece of evidence for the hot Big Bang is the abundance of hydrogen in the universe. Currently, hydrogen constitutes about 75% of the baryonic mass energy density. Baryons are like things that are made of the normal matter that we're used to seeing. That makes up about 75% of the mass energy density of baryonic matter in the universe. 98% if we throw helium into that mix as well. We don't know of any mechanisms that would be capable of producing such an abundance of very light elements from so early in the universe. But we do know of one, and that is known as primordial nucleosynthesis, which I will touch on a little later. Remaining issues with this hot Big Bang model are known as the flatness problem, the horizon problem, and the magnetic monopole problem. The flatness problem is the problem that the universe appears to be geometrically near perfectly spatially flat, which cannot be explained by the hot Big Bang model. The horizon problem observes that very, very distant regions in space-time that are causally disconnected appear roughly the same temperature. The hot Big Bang model cannot explain why that is the case. The magnetic
I like that you've gone into, problems with the model, that, hey, there's still things we've got to figure out with it. It's sort of, that is really good in your opening if you do be honest about, problems with this model. I think it sort of shows a level of credibility. So I do like that. I mean, some people might say, oh, you shouldn't point out problems with it. He's going to jump on them. No, there's no problem with that.
And the funny thing is after what the next slide after this one is part of the reason why I brought this up.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a strategy.
But I mean, their answer to why these things aren't problems in their worldview, they're sort of, God did it. Is God did it? God just decided to arbitrarily just decided to make it flat, or did this, or do you think you know better? Like it's not an actual explanation behind anything. It's just an excuse of why they don't have to answer for reasons.
Monopole problem asks why, if magnetic monopoles should have been produced during the exceptionally hot and energetic phases of the Big Bang, do we not observe any? The hot Big Bang model cannot explain why we do not observe magnetic monopoles. And this brings me into the second part of my opening statements. Inflationary cosmology. The solution to the flatness problem was originally proposed by Alan Guth in 1981.
What was that? It was the Guth-Borden-Vilenkin theory, I think it was.
Well, that was in 2003. The original paper in 1981.
Gotcha.
And I started with the flatness problem because it was the first one I mentioned, but I should have started with the magnetic monopole problem because Alan Guth didn't even really know about the flatness problem or the horizon problem.
Right.
He wasn't thinking about those. He was a particle physicist initially, not a cosmologist. He was thinking about the magnetic monopole problem. And what at the end of all of his math and his theorizing, what he showed is that there could have been a rapid supercooling moment where the temperature of the universe drops by orders of magnitude very, very quickly. And this would have effectively driven the decay, not just of magnetic monopoles, but of the direct decay results of the magnetic monopoles. So the magnetic monopoles would have decayed, and then those things would have decayed even further. And mechanistically, it's like, how do we get a supercooling event like this? Well,
rapid expansion.
You can have a metastable scalar field holding some energy, where that energy is metastable. That means imagine a ball resting atop a hill. the ball is stable, but it's not at its lowest possible energy state because it could lose energy by rolling down the hill and then resting in the valley at the bottom of the hill. So it's metastable. You could have a scalar field that's like this, and if it decayed from a metastable state to a truly ground state, that would produce a spatial expansion capable of supercooling the universe the way that we need it to. And he dubbed this inflation. And this was in 1981. And Alan Guth was the sole one who did this. Obviously, other people like Neil Turok and Paul Steinhardt, Andre Linde further developed inflationary theory and what was called new inflation. But the whole inflationary cosmology was originally proposed by Alan Guth in 1981, I believe it was.
And that's why we can't afford eggs today.
Yep, that's exactly why. God damn it,
Guth!
What the fuck are you doing, man?
Yeah.
Inflationary cosmology, or inflation as a mechanism for solving these problems. If the inflationary epoch had occurred, we should observe that the universe would be very, very flat because the inflationary epoch would have stretched it to being near perfectly flat, and it is near perfectly flat, as you can see here. The solution to the horizon problem is found in the fact that if the universe was once very, very small, these causally disconnected regions would have actually been causally connected, and so there's no problem with the fact that they look the same. What inflation did was stretched them after they had looked the same when they were much closer together. The solution to the magnetic monopole problem is found in the fact that inflation would have dispersed these magnetic monopoles so far from any local observer that we wouldn't be able to detect them today, and lo and behold, we don't. So inflation immediately solves all three of the major problems with the Big Bang model.
Okay, so you're really talking about sort of rapid inflation kind of thing, this rapid expansion event that instead of just a background microwave radiation because of a Big Bang, you're really talking about like a incredibly fast expansion that causes all of these things to be solved.
Yeah, the CMB is
muted,
a relic from a little bit later on. That's
the cosmic microwave background is about 380,000 years after hot Big Bang.
Can I just give the writer that both Ember and Leo know way more about cosmology than I do? I have no qualms in admitting that completely. So this is actually really interesting.
But what about the direct evidence for inflationary theory, the empirical evidence? The upper limit to Big Bang temperatures as a result of how large space-time would have been at that time and the mass energy density of it would not have been capable of exceeding roughly 10 to the 19th giga-electron volts, which is just a way that physicists can measure energy. And observations of that cosmic microwave background, or rather the fluctuations in it, that I mentioned earlier, show us that these temperatures during the Big Bang phase didn't exceed 10 to the 16th GeVs, which is below the expected limit, which provides strong observational confirmation of an inflationary epoch. Primordial fluctuations as density perturbations. In this inflating space-time, there would have been fluctuations as a result of uncertainty, and these should transfer to perturbations or fluctuations in the density of the distribution of matter and energy that we see today. These density perturbations should have a constant entropy, or be adiabatic in technical terms, and have constant spatial curvature to near 0%, i.e. not.
I don't know. Just as sort of a criticism, Leo, I don't think the creationist crowd is going to understand a word that you're saying. I honestly think they
not
have,
even a bit.
Yeah, they have problems with understanding, basic evolutionary terms. Like they're never going to understand any of this. I think
I think that's sort of the point is to show how detailed this information is compared to Kent's, which is going to be Bible said a thing.
Yeah,
it's just
I got you.
I think most creationists, if you sat them down and played them this opening statement, I think most of them would follow along. I think they'd get it. Whether or not they act like they get it because of the preconceived ideologies they wish to cleave to, I can't say. But I genuinely think that the people in the audience that were listening to this were following it. And I think that something in the back of their mind, clearly this made sense. But again, when you have preconceived ideological commitments, oftentimes you block out information, or something starts to make too much sense to you. You start to, what's over there in the corner? I don't know. I'm not going to look at that. So that's how I would answer that question.
Yeah,
you
just
have more faith in them than I do. But
honestly, I think more of this went over Kent Hovind's head than it did everybody in the audience. And I'm being 100% honest when I say that.
Don't forget that some of these people think he is a genius.
Mm-hmm.
They think he's a genius. Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah. I mean, There's a lot of people think Trump's a genius too. Do they really think Trump's a genius, or do they just like that he's as racist as they are?
I think they really think he's a genius. I think that they actually
I think some of them
that.
do, but
yeah, just saying.
Having constant.
No, I definitely get what you're saying for sure.
Yeah. Hey, that's just my opinion. Like I when we do these debate reviews, I do nitpick, I do criticize. But,
I want you to.
Yeah, but that's just my opinion. Like it doesn't mean that I'm an expert on anything. It just means that I just give my opinion because this show. It's on my channel. You're going to get my opinion.
Or ISO curve. They should be ISO. We shouldn't really observe any ISO curvature.
It's really funny when someone goes like, "Oh, that's just your opinion." Like, whose opinion should I be giving? Like, that's yours. I don't understand.
But that's what they want. They want to hear their opinion out of your mouth. That's
pretty much.
We have measured that these density perturbations are adiabatic to 98.7% and isocurved to 1.3%, which are extremely close to the predicted numbers, again, providing powerful confirmation of an inflationary epoch very early in the universe's history, as well as corroborating with the line of evidence outlined previously. Fluctuations on supercosmic horizon scales. If inflation did indeed occur, the temperature fluctuations in that cosmic microwave background should exist beyond scales of the cosmic horizon. How would we measure that? Well, we could measure what I believe is called the E-mode polarization of the cosmic microwave background to see this, and we see that these fluctuations do exist well beyond what the cosmic horizon for us would be, which again provides very strong empirical confirmation of an inflationary epoch. The scale invariance of these primordial fluctuations is also very, very powerful evidence for an inflationary period. Something called the scalar spectral index, which measures the variance of these density perturbations, or rather these primordial fluctuations in space-time. We can measure them, the variance of those, as a function of scale, how large or how small you're choosing to go in the universe. And what we measure is that amongst all the scales, it's about 0.965, which is very, very close to 1 corresponding to perfect invariance. So we see that space-time, or rather the primordial fluctuations that would have existed very early in space-time, and the density fluctuations that they gave rise to today are near perfectly scale invariant, which is, like I said earlier, strong empirical confirmation of inflation, and it robustly corroborates all of the aforementioned evidence that we've outlined thus far.
Okay, so robustly, can you what does robust mean?
Thoroughly.
Yes.
In a way that's largely going to be like uncontroversial. Well, so if I said like that, there's robust evidence for hypothesis H. Yes. I'm saying that the evidence is extensive, corroborative, and effectively complete. Something along those lines.
So robustness is how much an explanation takes all possible explanations into account, right? Like, so if you're robust, you are basically saying, hey, let's try everything. And so when you have a robust explanation, you're basically, this is the only one that fits and we've tried everything else kind of thing. Like you've accounted for all possibilities. So it's not just that these explanations fit the data that we get. It's that the explanation is kind of the only one that fits the data that we get, is the only explanation. And something that Donnie keeps saying that just drives me crazy is that when he goes, oh, the evidence is agnostic, which meaning, oh, it would support one over the other kind of thing.
If you ignore half the evidence, yes.
Right.
Like the variance that Leo was just talking about, like inflationary theory is the only model that even predicts it, let alone gives us a value to expect to find when we look into it, and then we look into it and we find the value we predicted. It's like, it's that, what is it they say? Ability skill is the ability to hit a target that no one else can hit. Genius is the ability to hit a target no one else can see. And inflationary theory was hitting targets that no one had even conceptualized at the time the prediction was made.
Right.
And Alan Guth, when he initially proposed inflation, again, like he didn't really know about all these other problems that it solved. And then cosmologists were like, okay, but wait, hold up, what we got here? And we're like, hey, this like completely fixes the fucking model we currently have. Like, this is really cool. How did you do this? And he's just like, I wrote some stuff on some napkins and it made sense.
Like you do.
Yep.
Yeah. But like when you have all of this weight of evidence, like, Donnie will say, and it drives me crazy, that like evidence in evolution is agnostic. And it's like, okay, well, on one hand, we have all of this genetic thing suggesting that we're all connected. We have ERVs, we have all of this stuff. And on the other, you have a religious belief drawn from a 2,000 to 6,000 year old book. Like, that is not agnostic evidence. That is, there's nothing about that. That is the least agnostic thing. That it's not, one side or the other. It's like, we've got all this evidence and you've got your religious belief. Like, nothing.
The evidence, empirical evidence in general, is not agnostic when it comes to, say, specifically creationism of whatever variety. We know that all of them are false, except for the ones that are so superfluous that they don't even matter. But if, and I don't think this is what Donnie was trying to say, just knowing Donnie, but if he was trying to say something like empirical facts don't really bear on the existence of God, that would be correct. Empirical facts simplicator, which means in and of themselves in no other context, just the empirical facts simplicator, do not bear on the existence or the non-existence of God. They might say when you put them in some broader context, or you might have empirical facts serving as premises in arguments that have theological conclusions, but it's not going to be in virtue of the empirical facts simplicator that you are getting either to the existence or the non-existence of God. It's going to be the empirical facts plus some other form of context or argumentation in which they are placed and interpreted that will get you there. Empirical facts simplicator do not bear on the existence or the non-existence of God.
But that's not what we're talking about, because we're talking about two models. We're talking about whether they support a sort of an evolutionary model or a young Earth creationist model.
Yeah. Like I said, empirical facts do bear on that, but that's because creationism is purporting itself to be an empirical model. So
yes,
and like I said, I don't think Donnie was trying to say what I just said, but in the instance where somebody is saying that empirical facts alone don't tell you anything about God's existence positively or negatively, they would be correct. That is the position that most philosophers of science would take.
Yeah.
Most
The
philosophers
third
of science were
part of
also
my
atheists.
Examining the preponderance of the evidence. Given that the very equations we have that accurately and precisely describe spacetime, when describing a spacetime that looks like ours, give us a spacetime that is expanding, given that we have directly observed and accurately measured the rate of the expansion of spacetime through galactic redshift, given that we have directly observed one of the foremost predictions of the hot Big Bang model, the cosmic microwave background, and given the abundance of hydrogen in the early universe, we are justified. Given all four of those conclusions, we are both epistemically and empirically justified in concluding that the universe was, indeed, very early in its history, in a very hot and very dense state from which it evolved into the universe that we know and love today. Given the four direct, empirically confirmed predictions made by inflationary theory, we are thoroughly, again, epistemically and empirically justified in concluding that inflationary theory not only works as a solution to problems with the hot Big Bang model, but actually further explains things that we can see in our universe today, which is itself powerful evidence that an inflationary epoch likely occurred very, very early in the universe, even earlier than the hot Big Bang phase. In conclusion, the preponderance of all of the empirical data that we have, the direct observations that we've made, and the mathematics which backs it all up, all of that explicitly corroborating each other very, very profoundly, points directly to the conclusion that our universe was very early in its evolution in a very, very hot and very, very dense state, to which we can extrapolate back roughly 13.8 billion years. We also know from the empirical evidence that we have seen and the predictions that we have been confirmed that the inflationary epoch proposed initially by Alan Guth in 1981 solves problems with the Big Bang and further describes an expanding spacetime that was, again, very early in its history in a very, very hot and very, very dense state from which it evolved. And that is what the Big Bang, that is what modern cosmology tells us.
Yeah, I don't know about time equals zero, because I worry that
That's an arbitrary starting point.
Yeah, or
a lot of cosmologists will use t equals 0 as sort of like this arbitrary. general
sort of
starting point.
presumed sort of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. No, I gotcha. I just worried that he's going to go, oh well, if it started from somewhere, it's got to be. I feel like that's a bit of a vulnerability.
Space, time, and matter had a beginning. They had to come from somewhere, sonny boy.
Yeah. So who created the universe at t equals 0? Okay. I got to work on my Hovind accent today, so you're going to have to put up with a lot of that. As I said, it's my birthday tomorrow, and Hovind's going to be on tomorrow. So yes, by popular demand, Mark Hovind's coming back. By popular demand.
Weekend.
Yeah, it's all Hovind all weekend. Wow, what a lol cow. Just keep milking that guy, right? Oh, that's a vivid image. That's terrible.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oof.
So those who wish to set aside
That's not good. I just now we get Kent, who I dread to think what his thing's gonna be. I really do.
any of their personal biases or beliefs or convictions and follow the preponderance of the evidence that we have and all of the mathematics that backs it up, I think we'll come to accept the physical model that I have presented and defended here tonight and the conclusions drawn from it. Thank you.
I appreciate that opening
I
statement.
want everybody to know, and people don't have to believe me. It's fine. We had 12-minute opening statements in that debate. I didn't practice mine once, and it was literally right on the
money.
motherfucking money. And I genuinely didn't. I did no practicing. I had my own timer going that I could look at and kind of figure out where I am and gauge what I need to say and how fast I need to move. So that helps a lot too.
I love that you're doing a presentation. I think it's very good. One thing I would suggest is that you're sort of reading the presentation verbatim on the screen. I would probably break it down more into simpler points. That's me personally. I would do that, and then extrapolate on them in your speech. Like if you just read it out, it's just the same information. But if you just have points to lead them to the very, very, very critical information while extrapolating while you're talking, I've found that it's a lot easier for people. Don't like reading, especially creationists. They really don't. Yeah. I mean, they barely read the Bible, and that's their favorite book. So,
Leo, perfect timing, and I appreciate that. Also, to the audience, we've already got over 225 people in the chat. So please, if you are asking me questions, just make sure you're tagging me at Standing for Truth so I don't miss it. That being said, we're going to hand it over to Ken.
Of this debate.
You also have.
Whoops. Who was the one who wanted to, because this has no real free-flowing discussion, does it? It's got rebuttals.
No, it does. Yeah, we've got rebuttals, and then after that, yep.
Okay.
Because
but it's a very
I was
short?
the one. Not really 40 minutes, 40 for something like that. But
Okay.
I was the one that initiated this debate, and I told Donnie that I wanted opening statements. We each get one rebuttal, and then some open dialogue period, and then closing statements. And he's like, "Yeah, that's fine. Ken will be fine with that." So I was like, "Sweet."
Okay.
I like doing a rebuttal after the openings because it allows you to directly address what has just been said in an uninterrupted way. And I think to speak kind of flowery here, it puts a little more meat on the table. When you get to the open dialogue, you can really hone in on where you guys are really going to clash and what problems you really want to bring up, rather than hearing the opening and then jumping right into an open discussion.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree.
It's really great. I also have one other note about the precision timing of the opening. Ultimately, when you get right down to it, the Big Bang as a model is all about time.
Yeah, you got darn right it is.
Well, apparently, according to Kent Hovind, we worship time. So,
praise the holy
opening
minutes.
statement whenever you're ready.
Here, we're discussing the Big Bang. Although the Big Bang theory is widely accepted, probably will never be proved, consequently, leaving a number of tough unanswered questions from some NASA sources here. Sorry.
what NASA sources said that? That's not a citation, Ken.
Some people say.
well, NASA said one time that you can't prove the Big Bang. And I would just respond by this by saying, yeah, sure. Proof is a concept that exists in things like mathematics and meta logic and logic. It's a formal notion that sort of comes out of this idea that in when you have formalized deductive arguments, if the premises are true and the conclusion follows from the premises, then it is necessary that the conclusion is true as well. Science simply doesn't deal in that mode of analysis, but
Correct.
that doesn't reduce the accuracy, precision, or reliability of science as an analytic methodology.
It's sort of the case that no theory is actually proved in a strict sense. You may have small local proofs, like for instance, we can prove that disease is not caused by smell, for instance. We can sort of make those proofs, but the entire germ theory will never be proved in the same way that we eliminate possibilities or we eliminate certain things. So it's just a misunderstanding of, well, everything really, all science, that he goes, well, NASA says the Big Bang will never be proved. It's just sort of like, that's not what a model is designed to do. And like I said, all models aren't accurate. Some are very, very useful. It's like saying, hey, the street directory or the Google Maps will never be proved. Okay, what? It doesn't really matter.
Spot check it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can check it all day long, but you'll never prove it. It's in a way that's actually an equivocation fallacy in and of itself, because they say proof meaning like a mathematical proof, but when applying it to a model like Big Bang or like evolution, then the proper context would be more like proving grounds, as in we're going to put it to the test. And so you don't prove it, but you do test it. And if you fail to knock it down, then maybe there's something to it, but you never prove it.
You cannot formally prove scientific theories, but you can empirically confirm scientific theories.
Right. And this is one of the conflations that Kent loves to do. He is this conflation guy. So he'll use scientific terms and conflate them with sort of colloquial terms. Like, for instance, you think you're related to a strawberry. Well, he's using two versions of that, related in a scientific sense, which means that you have a genetic connection to them, and related as in when I say, well, I'm not related to Leo, like he's not in my, immediate family kind of thing. So he's using two words, or the same word rather, and conflating two different meanings of them to try to make it sound absurd. So when he says, Big Bang will never be proved, he's conflating the idea of proof as in scientific proof, and proof as in just, I prove something to you colloquially, right? Like, that's what he's doing. And everybody knows he's doing it. He just doesn't care. And his minions eat it up because, they already have come to their conclusion, and they don't really care that he's being dishonest about it.
I love that.
Okay, Mark, but you just think that mosquitoes can turn into dogs.
You just think
Like
that
magic.
mosquitoes can turn.
I love that you brought up conflation just then, because we could retitle this debate inflation versus conflation.
Yeah. Nice. Hang on, I'll change the title right now.
Leo, for doing this tonight, I think he's missing the absolute major point, missing it completely. The Bible says 17 times God stretched out the heavens.
For fuck's sake!
He's missing the point completely, okay? The Bible says that God stretched out the heavens.
17 times.
17 times. Does it say that? Because he's only got Job 26.
Yeah, it's like 3 times, but the number doesn't matter because the Quran says it too, and also they all use the past tense, not the it's still happening.
Right. I don't, this is kind of just like I said, they, the phrase stretched out the heavens is used a total of 10 to 11 times.
I'm sorry, I gotta point out here. Just look at this clip. Look at Hovind's face right there. I feel like if you took this image as a screenshot, like the whole thing that we see in the video thing right now, and you just slap the parental advisory explicit content thing on it, that would go so hard as an album cover.
Right.
So fucking hard.
He's just so smug that his book says it stretched out the heavens. Yeah, it also
you will get stretched out like. I'm sorry.
It
Oh,
also
no.
says something like the four corners of the earth and the pillars of the earth. Like you're just taking one thing and saying, okay, that fits with what it says. And I think it says it's stretched out like a blanket, and it's like, no, it's not like a blanket in the slightest. Like
What
that's
fucking translation is he using? He stretcheth out the north over the empty place. Like, it's not even saying what he says it's saying. And also, what?
I believe the KJV is what he'll be using. I believe.
Oh, probably. But it just
seems accurate because we have a lot of these F at the end of these words, and that's certainly like a
KJV,
like Middle Ages, maybe late Middle Ages, something like that. I think
Elizabethan. King James was published originally in 1611. They were still on their Shakespeare kick, so
Okay,
it's not technically KJV. Hang on a second. Let me get KJV. But don't forget, it says he stretched out the north. Well, what about the south, east, and the west? Like, I don't.
What about the south, southeast?
Yeah, the north is not the heavens. So what is Kent talking about here?
Right. Yeah, no, this is KJV. Definitely KJV. Which is probably one of the worst versions of the Bible. Like, it is terrible. Mm-hmm. It's like Bible fan service, basically. That it might surprise you. I mean, you might be shocked, but all of this stretcheth. Hebrew did not actually have Old English words in it. Just letting you know now. Just letting you know now. This is people came back and put this kind of stuff in it because it's kind of Old English. It's so stupid.
Mm-hmm. I also wanted to say that, in my opinion, the best version of the Bible that you're going to get is the Oxford Annotated Bible with Apocrypha.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, the Apocrypha is bonus content, and I am here for it.
Oh, yeah, brother.
I agree. He stretched out the heavens. Big Bang Theory does not answer any of the major questions. Where did matter come from? Where did energy come from? He talks about all the gigavolts in the...
Where did matter come from? Where did energy come from?
It's not... He talks about all these gigavolts. Gigavolts.
Gigawatts.
I was talking about volts. Yeah, volts. Just volts is what I mentioned. Yeah, electron volt? I've never heard of her.
He talked about all these Pokemon and gigavolt. Wow.
Original thing. Where's this heat coming from? Where's this energy? Where's the space coming from? Absolutely.
Where's the space coming from? Can't.
I'm pretty sure I was laughing in real time behind the scenes when this was going on. Because what was the very first thing I said in my opening?
It doesn't tell you the origin of the universe, only tells you about the expansion of it. Yeah. I'm very aware. It's just, yeah.
Yeah, no, I know you're aware. I'm just making it get reiterated so that we all remember.
It's also fun to me that he's very clearly responding to the things you said in your opening rather than giving an opening.
Yeah. He's doing a rebuttal. Yeah. Which is, terrible.
Bypasses all of that. He does not have a complete theory. It doesn't explain the beginning. In my previous sessions, I talked.
It doesn't explain the beginning. Like, seriously, it doesn't. It's not enough just to explain the beginning. It's not enough. You've actually got to show evidence or show some kind of reason why that explanation is true. And this is what gets me about creationists. They're like, well, you can't explain the beginning. I say it's God. And it's like, well, I could say that it's a magic bunny rabbit. It doesn't mean that's true. You've got to show why you are in fact correct. And they refuse to. They just go, well, no, I just know it is. Like, that's not enough. You can't do that. Because there's no reason to believe you. Sorry, go ahead, Leo.
Also, pretty much any cosmologist is going to tell you that lambda CDM is incomplete.
Right.
Talk about creation evolution. I talk about the first law of thermodynamics. Matter cannot be created or destroyed. Leo
then you've got problems then, don't you? Because if matter can't be created or destroyed, then God cannot speak a universe into existence.
Whoops.
And then there's a star after it. Why do I feel like that star's going to have like a footnote going, except when God does it?
Something like that.
Theory completely violates that. Where did matter come from? Just to say it's there, it doesn't answer the question. So you do not have a complete model. Where did matter or energy come from? Matter or energy cannot be created or destroyed. So, two choices. Somebody made all.
Wait, what did I say? And starlight? What's starlight got to
Yeah.
do with it?
Yeah, just and
don't-
starlight. Period.
And
End
starlight.
of sentence.
Matter and or energy cannot be created or destroyed. And starlight. What the fuck are you talking about?
Leo's theory completely violates that. Where did matter come from? Just to say it's there, it doesn't answer the question. So you do not have a complete model. Where did matter or energy come from?
I love how they keep saying you don't have a complete model. Okay, what's your model? Can you provide it? God did it. That's apparently what passes for a complete model these days. Oh boy, that's not a complete model either, because you're not actually saying how it happened. You're just giving an excuse as to why you don't have to explain it. That's what it is. It's an excuse. I don't have to explain it because it was God and we can't understand that.
What can we predict with your model, Kent? Magic.
The rapture,
Just imagine.
apparently.
Imagine
Whoops.
the predictions.
Matter or energy cannot be created or destroyed. So,
And starlight.
two choices. Somebody made all this, or the world made itself, which is what Leo is trying to present to everybody here with all.
It hurts.
False dichotomy, anyone? Somebody made the world or the world made itself.
And he
Those
said
are
that that's what
not-
I said. And I didn't say that, so he's also strawmanning.
But fundamentally, it's a false dichotomy. All I have to do to show that this is a false dichotomy. So a dichotomy is like just two choices. It's like, do I go to the store or do I stay at home? A true dichotomy is one where all eventualities are covered. So if I say, will I either stay at home or I do not stay at home? That's a true dichotomy. There's no other option available to me. A false dichotomy is one where you're presenting it like a true dichotomy, but there are in fact other choices. So he's presenting this as a true dichotomy. Somebody either made the world or the world made itself. There's no other options. All I can just say is it was a result of natural processes. That's another option, and it fits into neither of those, so it is a false dichotomy. Because something is not somebody. Just something from the outside made the world. But I dislike the way he's sort of poisoning the world. He's sort of poisoning it by saying made instead of formed. It's sort of saying, hey, there's only two choices for this, that rock over there. Somebody either made it or it made itself. Well, we don't say it made itself. Rocks form from natural forces in the world. We don't say it made itself, right? I dislike everything about this is so greasy. It's so, fundamentally dishonest, the way that he's setting it up here.
Mm-hmm.
All the big words and fancy phrases. Oh yeah, it just made itself. And we know that because it's expanded.
Oh, fancy phrases. I think he's feeling kind of intimidated, Leo. I don't think he likes, your scientific explanations. Look, I've seen this before. I've seen somebody go literally, you're using magic words to someone using science. And if you want to know who that was Iron Horse or Flat Earth Aussie Jesus kind of thing who said that. And it was just hilarious that someone used, terminology, correct scientific terminology. And he said, I'm not paying attention to these magic words.
The guy who believes in magic doesn't want to hear your magic words.
And hot. Think about it, okay? We're here. Okay, we really are. I don't think the Berkeley folks understand that, but we are here. Okay.
I don't understand this.
What?
I don't understand this graphic that he had. What was it? Where is it?
Think about it. Okay, we're here.
Like, seriously?
Atheists are just a bunch of druggies, man. Don't you know?
Yeah, we aren't really here at all, man. We just think what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, that's
like,
just,
this is
like,
is this
your
solipsism?
opinion,
Is this I don't get this.
What is he arguing against at this point?
So he's got a tendency to strawman people and sort of try to make caricatures out of them. I don't know who he thought Leo was, but he'll usually include something like this if he thinks they're, you know, a hippie or a gay person, or, you know, any of these sort of personal characteristics. He'll put something like this in his presentation. So I think he thinks that because he put one in one of mine, he had something about like having a wild lifestyle of this and he obviously had like just saw me as a bald guy and just assumed a whole bunch about my life, you know, just based upon how I looked. And he looked like an
Oh, you're
idiot
bald?
because
Yeah, you've probably done at least 6 years in prison.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So this is the kind of thing that he does, and it just shows how dishonest he is, because he kind of just tries to caricature people based upon how they look or the lifestyle they live, or, you know, the choices they've made in their life, while at the same time, if you dare bring up his criminal past in a debate, he will close it down right away. He will go, no. He basically wants to be able to do these things while not having things come back at him. And that's why I will mercilessly mock him, because he does it to everybody else. He is a bully, first and foremost. He likes to do this kind of thing. Yeah.
I have a question for both of you. How far do you think he jumped into the air when he first saw that I had brown skin?
I have no idea. I think that he was delighted that he got to, you know, dunk on the person who has had very little education and stuff like that. I think he made a lot of assumptions.
He does tend to do that. Like, he's gotten a bit over his instinctive, oh no, a brown person reaction. But we could see, I mean, when Mandisa went down to talk to him in person, he made a lot of assumptions.
She was brave for that, man. My God.
Yeah. Yeah, Mandisa absolutely.
I mean, she'd fuck Ken Hovind up anyway, so it's really not.
Yeah.
She'd fucking roll this guy, dude. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But, you know, I mean, he kind of assumed that, like, a lot of things about my life as well, and none of them were accurate. Not even one. And I don't know. It's just weird that he'd put this in thinking you were some sort of hippie kind of thing. I don't, you know, I don't think Leo is. I don't think he's a child of the 70s. Seriously. No. What the hell?
Okay, we really are. I don't think the Berkeley folks understand that, but we are here, okay? Bible's real simple. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. I take this on faith. I admit freely I have a religion. I doubt Leo will admit his is a religion.
Wait.
He will probably think it is.
Hold on. What the fuck was this guy's? Is it George? Is this him? Is this the guy? Is this
George?
Yeah, that's what he. Okay, so I get the Berkeley call. Okay, I had to hear that a second time. The fucking Kent, you fucking douche. He said the Berkeley people. He's talking about George Berkeley, who came up with subjective idealism. So that was that's the Berkeley comment.
I thought he was talking about like Berkeley, the it's a
the school,
you know, school,
the university,
where the weasel fires lasers at things.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very strange. He seems to have these institutions or companies or, you know, sort of things that he really hates, and he'll bring them up over and over. Like he'll talk about National Pornographic, as in National Geographic kind of thing. Doesn't like them, absolutely hates them, right? And he'll keep saying this. And I'm surprised he called it Berkeley instead of Berserkly. For some reason, he's had some sort of run-in with Berkeley University, and he hates them, right? Like, he'll keep bringing this up.
They're just a woke leftist university.
Well, at the moment, he's got, it's really Simon Dan in his sights. He's gotten real upset that Simon Dan has done a number of hilarious shorts that have him featured predominantly where he's made an ass of himself. And he's very upset about it. So at the moment, he hates Simon Dan.
Of course.
Yeah, because, I mean, yeah.
Science. No, Leo, you have a religious belief that matter can create itself, and space-time can create itself. And
matter can create itself.
Matter.
Okay.
Water.
Matter. Water.
By the way, Reese, no, I am not gay.
Energy can create itself. You have a religious belief, and will never admit that, okay?
Okay.
Humanist Manifesto. Humanists regard the universe as self-existing and not created.
What the hell
What the fuck
does
the
scientific
Humanist
theory? Yeah, so that's Humanist Manifesto 1 from almost 100 years ago kind of thing. All it's saying is that, hey, we don't believe the universe was created by somebody, and it is self-existing. So this is just cherry-picking to a way old manifesto from almost 100 years ago that sort of just makes a philosophical claim. And they've updated it, to Manifesto 2 and now to 3. So it doesn't actually get you to where, where he thinks it does. Textbooks have often have the U capitalized to deify universe. That's not how that works. That is not how that works.
It's a little bit of like panpsychism, like the universe is the God.
I don't. I mean that would probably be a pantheism, not panpsych. Panpsychism is that the entire universe is the mind of God. That's panpsychism.
That's panentheism. Panpsychism is the idea that consciousness underlies all of reality. That like electrons are conscious because there's a what it's likeness associated with being an electron, which I reject. I think that's silly. I think panpsychism is silly.
Yeah, I think panpsychism.
Philip Goff is a great guy, but panpsychism is kind of silly. What the fuck was I gonna say? I was gonna say something. Oh, god damn it.
Yeah, so he's really pointing. So I think that humanism, it has been described as a religion. I would personally disagree. I think that if we identify all philosophical worldviews as religions, then almost everything is a religion. Like, I really disagree that this is a religion, but people have described it as that, and I'm like, oh, okay. Maybe a secular religion or an atheistic religion, maybe. I don't know how that would work.
Same.
I think that, to me, religion, you have to be in veneration of something greater than yourselves. And I don't think humanism really gets you there. I don't think it has the necessary worship and veneration of something to actually get you there. But, some people disagree. Okay. But that's got nothing to do with whether the scientific theory is a religion, right? He's just conflating again. And like I said, he will conflate through all this. He's just conflating humanism with the Big Bang Theory, because humanists generally accept the Big Bang Theory, so they must be exactly the same thing, even though there's Christians that accept the Big Bang Theory. So, he's basically conflating two to say, see, that theory is actually just a religious belief. And no, it's not. Because humanism and science is not the same thing. So he's just conflating here. That's all he's doing. And it's a pretty obvious one at that.
Okay, well then, how'd you get here? And their answer is the Big Bang, which is what you're supposed to defend tonight. Now, I don't mind if people want to believe the Big Bang. Leo, you're welcome to believe whatever you want to believe. But keep in mind, these people like Leo who believe in the Big Bang, in complete violation of any scientific proof of this, They want to force everybody to teach this to all.
Yeah. Scientific proofs. Again, theories don't give proofs. There's, in complete opposition to scientific evidence, there's a ton of evidence for it. So, sorry, Kent, you can't get away with that.
The kids in our school system.
I love how Leo dumps a boatload of evidence, and then Kent's
Yeah.
like, "There's no evidence."
Well, he didn't say
Were
that.
you
He said there's
sleeping?
no scientific proof, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what that means.
I got to run to the bathroom quick, but I got my headphones in, so I'll still be able to hear you guys.
Sure.
No, Leo, you should keep that at home and teach it in a private school for those who wish to learn Big Bang. It's got nothing to do with science. So matter cannot be created or destroyed.
I've never heard somebody just without blushing say Big Bang has nothing to do with science. Like, seriously, are you high?
The man is shameless.
Like, you may not believe in it, but saying that, hey, our study and our models of cosmogony or cosmology have nothing to do with science. I mean, come on. Seriously? It's so bad.
No science is science. None of it.
Yeah, all of those radio telescopes and stuff that they're using, nothing to do with science. They're just, completely unrelated. There are actually temples, didn't you know? What are you talking about?
Where we go to offer our worship,
Right. All bow down to the wow signal. What the hell are you talking about? All of those big, computer signals, computer banks to analyze the incoming signals from the farthest reaches of the universe. Yeah, that's just an altar where we sacrifice babies. Of course it is. Come on now. What are you talking about?
Didn't you know that the James Webb Space Telescope was powered by abortions?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's powered by adrenochrome. Yeah. Absolutely.
First law of thermodynamics says energy, i.e. heat or energy, cannot be created or destroyed. You can read all about the first law of thermodynamics on your own time. Bible says, thou, Lord, in the...
Okay. And, energy cannot be created nor destroyed. You can read about that on your own time. I don't have the time to teach you. Okay. I don't know what it means, but that's okay. Okay. Fucking Hovind. And then he just goes back to the Bible. That's his entire spiel. And thou, Lord, in the beginning hast laid the foundation of the earth. Does earth have foundation? Like, and does he think that God's sitting there with a trowel and bucket of mortar? Like, what are we talking about here?
Well,
the heavens are the works of thine hand.
Isaac Asimov wrote Foundation, and so therefore Isaac Asimov is God, because God laid the foundation.
Like, he's trying to equate, and the heavens are the works of thine hands. First law is they shall perish.
That's not
the first law. Yeah. But thou remainest, right? And they shall wax old is the second law. He's trying to say that wax old is entropy. And they all shall wax old as doth a garment. What the hell? That isn't the second law. Like,
entropy is just like, your sheets wearing thin.
Yeah.
Oh,
what
shit.
the hell?
Beginning, laid the foundation of the earth, and the heavens are the works of thy hands. The Bible clearly claims God did it. Now, if you choose to not believe that, that's okay, but don't claim you have a scientific reason for rejecting that. Of old, it says in Psalm 102, thou hast laid the foundation of the earth and the heavens, they are the work of thy hands. They shall perish.
That's the same as the last slide, but with different things highlighted.
Why are there two different?
As a vesture, what the hell? It's so weird. It's so weird.
Well, he's just on his spiel now. He's like, you don't have a scientific reason to reject what I'm saying. Like, no, you haven't given me a reason to accept what you're saying, fuck nuts.
I also have reasons to reject it, and I outlined them in my opening.
No.
But thou shalt endure. It's true, everything we've observed says heavens, everything is perishing. It's getting worse. That's the second law of thermodynamics. Everything is falling apart. Take
Yeah,
a look in your
everything's
sock drawer if
getting
you don't.
worse.
Yeah,
Worse
that's
totally
exactly
isn't
what.
a normative term at all. Nope, 100% scientific.
That's exactly what entropy is. Everything is getting worse.
Yeah, no.
No.
Like, worse for who? If the universe hadn't gone through several entropic phases to decay to the point that, planets orbiting relatively stable stars was a thing that could possibly happen, we would not have life. So some entropy is a little necessary to develop more complex systems.
But don't forget, he doesn't think that that's what happened to get the Earth and other planets here. He thinks they were magicked out of nothing. But it still works with the first law of thermodynamics, meaning nothing can be created or destroyed. But they were 100%.
Nothing comes unless it's magicked by God.
Yeah, basically.
Believe me, everything tends toward disorder. Go look in our shop. Yeah, everything tends toward disorder just automatically, okay? Most thinking people today know it is dumb to worship a god.
Yeah, I don't want to look at your shop. I really no. And he says, trust me. I don't trust you. I do not. Like, you are the most untrustworthy person I could care to name. So no, I will not trust you.
Of nothing that exploded into an ordered universe.
Most people today know it is also dumb to worship a dot. Do we worship the singularity at the start of the universe, or the presumed singularity? No, we don't. Like, this is just
praise nothing.
This is just a straw man. We don't worship that. Like, nobody worships it, and it didn't explode, and it certainly didn't explode into an ordered universe kind of thing and life. No, there's several steps you're missing in between there, chum.
Intentionally. It's part of the propaganda.
Absolutely. Yep.
But it's also telling on himself, because he's trying to draw a caricature of what he himself is doing and just relabel it as the opponent. It's built-in projection. And so if you reverse the mirror and look at what's doing the projecting, he's pointing out that what he's saying is actually dumb.
Yeah.
Which is
amazing. I might add that, like, most thinking people, so he's sort of conflating here, because he's sort of saying most thinking people as in the thinking people will be the ones that agree with him, right? Most people around the planet just accept Big Bang Theory, right? They accept it because it's a rational explanation that makes a lot of testable predictions, and we learn more about the universe from it. Most people just accept that. So most people today accept Big Bang, but he has to put thinking people, because he's going to say, well, if you accept Big Bang, then you're not thinking, right?
Well, it also makes it technically not wrong, because he's mischaracterized things so much that it actually is true that most thinking people know it is dumb to worship a dot of nothing, because no one does that.
Yeah, because no one worships it. Yeah, that's true. So, I guess broken clock's right once, twice a day. You got things accidentally right while trying to. But this is just the straw man he does for his audience, and none of them seem to care that it's completely and utterly inaccurate, because
technically, if you're using a 24-hour clock is only a broken clock is only
I was
right
thinking
once
that. I'm like, it depends.
Because 1 o'clock is not the same thing as 13 o'clock.
Yeah, that's true.
Of life. But they teach, like Leo taught tonight, the universe came into existence. No, stop right there. You can't just make a statement like that without some scientific proof.
I literally never once made that statement.
Yeah. But he goes on to say God created everything. Where's the scientific proof? Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. You don't need scientific proof. Other people do. That's the catch. Because the one thing I've learned about Hovind is that he will make demands of other people that he doesn't expect for himself. Like, he'll say one topic at a time and then gish gallop away. So it's such a weird thing to see that Hovind sort of demanding stuff, he has no intention of the other side doing it as well. No intention whatsoever.
Oh yeah,
which is
the
wild.
double standards on full display. It's a feature from his presentations.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Say 14 billion years ago. This guy says 13.772. Leo said 13.78 in 3 weeks or whatever it was. Okay. So I think it's dumb to worship.
And 3 weeks or whatever. Okay. But he never said that. Why are you lying? You liar. He never said weeks at all. What the hell? What a absolute chump.
Time, space, energy, which is what they are doing. 13.8 billion years ago, the universe came to existence. Now, as far as the age of all this stuff, we can discuss
Billion years.
that some other time.
I don't
My video
know if
number
you guys
one gives
heard
about
me
40.
just say that, but if anybody did just hear me say that, billionfold, and you know exactly what I'm quoting, you are my kind of people.
I have no idea what you're talking about, so I'm not your type of people. Sorry.
I mean, you are, but for other reasons.
Okay. I'll take it.
Different reasons how to prove the Earth and the universe cannot be billions of years old.
Buy my DVDs, okay?
On DVD number 5. That's what
It's
they
on
really
the-
arrested me for, folks.
Yeah, arrested me for DVD number 5. They were trying to close me down. I knew the truth. Okay. Okay.
It can't even be millions of years old. If I told you this ink pen was 10,000 years old, I think you could pretty quickly disprove that. You could say that's a Bic pen. Bic wasn't even a company till after World War II.
What has that got to do with the universe? Leo, you're muted. What has that got to do with the universe? The worst part about it is Jester with the that's not the worst part about it, but Jester with the $2 freedom dollars. Why you always lying? Why you always lying?
As it happens, that he cannot say a thing that is true. So while that one's a half truth. Bic, the company, was launched in 1950, but it was a rebrand after Marcel Bic bought the rights from the original patent holder who was selling Bic pens in 1938, which is before World War II. But detail.
When was Universe Inc. founded? It was founded 13.8 billion years ago, and we're not even sure if it was founded then. It just that's as far back in its history as we can currently go.
I don't understand this. It's like saying, hey, you wouldn't believe me if I said, I was 587, but Noah lived to 900 and something. It's kind of just this, what has that got to do with anything? Like anything at all. It's so weird. It's so strange. I just... Yeah, that pen was made pretty recently. What's that got to do with the universe?
Well,
I'm so
to
confused.
have a pen, first you need a universe.
Yeah, because, at least he would say, oh, this pen must have been made in the last, 100 years or whatever. Sure, but that rock is older. You realize some things are older than other things. Like, I am so bewildered as to what his point is. I just...
Well, see, Mark, you just think that all of space, time, and matter was on the size of a dot.
Size of a dot.
Oh, well, you just proved my claim of thousands or millions of years wrong.
This is
That is a
actually
crazy ass
playing.
look on his face right now.
Heavens.
He just stopped for ages there. I don't know what happened there.
He just froze. He does that from time to time. Sometimes when he's bitten by a snake.
You just proved my
his
claim of
battery just
thousands
goes
or
out.
millions of years wrong. Has to be after World War II. We can go on through all that, but I think we can demonstrate clearly that the time is not there for their theory to take place anyway.
You didn't demonstrate anything. You held up a pen and said, oh, it can't be billions of years old. Yeah, I agree. What did you demonstrate? That pens weren't around at the start of the universe? Congratulations, I guess.
He may be right about that.
Oh, I think he may be. Yeah. Yeah.
No, there might have been a teapot though present. Maybe.
Maybe.
If you take away time, that is like taking away the pacifier from a baby. Get this
Oh,
thing
the
open here.
pacifier.
Time, that keeps them happy. Given millions and millions of years, anything can happen in their mind. Well,
I
that you
forgot
can't
he
have
did
the
that. I
time.
was dying in the background
Yeah.
when I saw him do that.
Well, the funny thing is, like, he says, "Oh, they need time. They need time. They need more time. They just worship time." Like when I said, "Oh, it's a religion. What do we worship?" He's like, "Time," and I'm like, "We don't worship time. There's no one in the back rooms worshiping time. Like, it's actually pretty inconvenient that we run out of like what."
I really want to sing a song right now, but
Okay, please don't. I've got a moratorium on all songs on my channel. Like, even if it is presumably the most, like, copyright-free song, no. I've been...
Oh, if Enya's music is copyright free. Oh, shit. But if you know who Enya is, then you know exactly what song I'm talking
do know who Enya is. I do know who Enya is.
Mm-hmm.
But even if you did, it wouldn't happen. So, major evidence to support the Big Bang comes from Hubble's discovery in the 1920s of the galaxy's relationship of distance to Earth and its speed. And the background rate.
That is not what it is. No. What the hell? What was his explanation?
That is like taking away the pacifier from a baby.
Yeah, we heard that.
Given millions and millions of years, anything can happen in their mind. Well, that you can't have the time, but even if you did, it wouldn't happen. So, major evidence to support the Big Bang comes from Hubble's discovery in the 1920s of the galaxy's relationship of distance to Earth and its speed.
Okay, so that says a galaxies. No, wrong. Not a galaxy. It's all galaxies. It's whichever galaxy you look at. Is the further away it is, the faster it is moving away from us. Because it is not the galaxy moving away, it is the space between expanding. And that's what it proved. So it's not a galaxy is moving away from... No, that's not what we're saying. Like, at all. Wow.
Well, from a certain point of view, our galaxy is running away from all the others, and its speed relative to them is based on their distance. So we're moving at several different speeds at once, depending on which galaxies you're making points of reference to. Mm-hmm. That makes much more sense, yes?
Why
Motion is relative.
Can I just point out he's gone to UWA for this one? Why is he going to the University of Western Australia?
He's trying to get at you, Mark. He's trying to make you angry.
I know. That is too close to home, mate. That is too close to home. It is.
Oh, he's angry!
It is probably the best university for astronomy in Western Australia, but it's just a random, like, he'll just pick out these things. Like, they probably just had an overview of it, and it was the one, and I bet it didn't say between a galaxy's distance. So he's basically talking about any galaxy's distance. Mm-hmm. Oh boy!
Isn't it strange how they'll cite, like, you'll see a link to some University of Sambucoko, and you're like, where the fuck is that, dude? Where are you pulling these universities from?
I bet Western Australia isn't even real. I mean, I bet you anything.
Well, we all know Australia's not real because you can't be upside down under my feet.
Right. That's not a thing. Left-Hander Jedi super chat for $2. How do people run out of time? I don't get it. You don't get time? Okay.
By running really fast.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much, Jedi. Really appreciate it. I'm glad you're here.
Everybody knows running was invented in 1748 by Thomas Running. He was an Englishman. He tried to walk twice.
That's just a religious belief on your part. It's not science. You can't prove running. And a Jester for $5. There are two guards. One never lies, and the other is Kent. So I guess this isn't really much of a fucking riddle. It's try not to laugh.
Well, I have failed.
Damn it, Jester.
That's hilarious. Jester, I have failed your test. That is so good. That is so good. Okay, I love that, Jester. That's going.
That's
going
good.
into.
That's
That's going into
classic.
my comments spank bank. To be honest with you, that is great. I love that. I gotta get a copy of that. That's awesome.
I love how everybody calls it a spank bank. I stick with the 2013 gamer terms. I
Okay.
call it my fapistry.
Your
Nice.
papistry. Nice. Nice. Okay.
And the background radiation, Hubble did a lot of work on that stuff. Hubble's brilliant observation was that
Hubble did a lot of work on that stuff. Yeah, it's just boil down the guy's life work into almost nothing. Sure, Kent, go for it.
Keen scientific mind here.
the redshift of galaxies was directly proportional to the distance of the galaxy from the Earth. That meant the things farthest away from the Earth were moving away faster. I would agree there is a red shift. I would agree. What that means is, well, I'll get to my other slide here and show you. Red shift. This is the big thing that, let's see, Alt-DV, 277, enter. How do we see the stars billions of light years away?
Does he have like all of these slides like coded up that he can just like hotkey them?
I think so.
And then, Jesus Christ, I bet he has more memory of the hotkeys he needs for the individual slides than he does any fucking thing. He probably didn't even know the names of his own child or children. I don't know how many he has.
So one important thing to remember is when Ken debates, he's got like a bunch of people around him, presumably, you know, his cult members, that are basically...
Isn't Steve one of them? Steve, something like that?
Okay, so that's hilarious. Steve is his tech guy, right? So he used to do a lot of turning to him and going, Steve, why isn't my slides coming up? Why isn't that slide showing? Like, why can nobody hear me, Steve, kind of thing. But Steve, surprisingly, I'm shocked, and I know you will be too, Leo. Steve left and stole a whole bunch of money from him. So I know you're shocked, right? That he was embezzling money and then like ran out taking a whole bunch of money. And
Do we know how much he took? Does anybody
I don't know.
about
I
what
have
it is?
no idea. But he was very angry about it because he stole from the Lord. You know. So which is hilarious. It's like, you know, all of Kent's people that he trusts seems to be, you know, have spent time in jail with him. So it's kind of unsurprising that he has a lot of criminals on his payroll. You know, it's totally unsurprising. So somebody, you know, embezzling and then running off with his money isn't surprising really either. So it's hilarious because, you know, Steve, you stole my money, Steve.
So I'm assuming Kent didn't report it as stolen money because, well, it was probably dirty money.
I think he did. I think the guy, like, he was talking about, like, the police being after the guy or something like that, you know. So, yeah, he definitely
I hope Steve gets away.
Yeah, same here. Well, I mean, he's pretty horrible as well as far as I understand it. So, you know.
Okay, according to a website called Odyssey, when Kent's official complaint that got the authorities involved to go look for Steve, he alleged that the theft was $140,000.
I was going to guess 6 figures. God damn.
Well, you're right.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Wish I had some dumb fuck idiot I could steal $140,000 from. And just not feel sorry or bad about it at all.
Well, Kent Hovind doesn't actually own anything. That's what he basically learnt from his escapade on defrauding the government. It was basically he's now learnt to put it all in the church, right? Like, he doesn't own anything himself, so the government can't take anything away from him. What he's learnt is, hey, if I put it all in the church's name, they can't take it from me. But, you know, then he gives access to the church's fund to people with, let's call it, shady pasts, and then they steal money from him. So, you know, Steve also stole a truck? Oh, no. Claude, you know, does
as bad as he was, I'm starting maybe kind of to like Steve a little bit.
I wouldn't. He's not.
Obviously,
a great guy.
I'm joking because yeah, Steve's a horrible guy. But
Not a great guy. Yeah. Like they're all as bad.
Steve.
They really deserve one another, quite frankly.
no shit.
Yeah.
Distance to Earth and its speed. And the background radiation. Hubble did a lot of work on that stuff. Hubble's brilliant observation was that the redshift of galaxies was directly proportional to the distance of the galaxy from the Earth. That meant the things farthest away from the Earth were moving away faster. I would agree there is a redshift. I would agree. What that means is, well,
he agrees that there's a redshift. Excellent. So things, the galaxies used to be closer together. That's fantastic. We're made progress. Made progress here.
to my other slide here and show you. Redshift. This is the big thing that
bit of a tangent, but it's kind of somewhat important. Hubble hated the expanding universe model. When his publication in 1929, he was very explicit that there's a correlation between redshift and distance, but he did not like the velocity interpretation. He spent decades trying to refute it. He published dozens of papers. I've got one in my collection here somewhere from Smithsonian Magazine, where he was trying to do a brightness test in order to prove that the distant galaxies weren't actually in motion. There was some other cause for the redshift. He couldn't say what, but it definitely wasn't motion. And he died being unable to disprove expansion. This brilliant man, one of the pillars upon which our understanding of the cosmos is based, the man who gave us the fucking universe, was unable to knock down this model, throwing everything he had at it.
Yeah. But I just want to say, like, you know, so what you've got to remember is he's probably got people feeding him like, oh, looking up which slide is that? That is this slide kind of thing. So he can just pull it up. I don't think he's got like a photographic memory. I think he has people helping him. Because occasionally in a debate, and it happened in mine, he will ask them questions off screen. Right. And this is something that I jumped in on when I saw it happen in my debate. He was like, oh, what's this thing? And then someone's talking to him like, excuse me, could we have a debate between the two of us and not include third parties kind of thing? And he's got no shame about it, like no shame whatsoever. He'll just ask them for answers. And it's like, dude, you're in a debate. Like you don't
you don't get a phone call, buddy. What the fuck are you doing here?
Well, I think that's what I said. Like, you don't get to phone a friend, you know, and get the answers.
Yeah, I think you did say that. I think I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like how Flatzoid, you know, Flatzoid doesn't expressly ask.
You mean
his friends
Catzoid?
Well, now it's Crealty Jesus Saves, whatever the fuck. But when he's in a debate, he's also live on his channel with his buddies in his Discord in his ear, live on his channel. Like, he won't say they're there in the debate, but he broadcasts they're there in real time at the same time he's in the debate.
Yeah. Which is just, you know, ridiculous. It's a ridiculous thing to do. When he's not
busy doxing his opponents.
Yeah.
277, enter. How do we see the stars billions of light years?
And this is his slide on redshift. How do we see the stars billions of light years away if the universe is only 6,000 years old? Yeah, that's a good question, Ken. Could it be that the universe is not 6,000 years old? So this is the problem, basically the speed of light problem for the creationists. And there was one guy that I saw recently who acknowledged it. He basically, I can't remember his name. Can you remember his name, Ember? I think I did it on a Fundamentalist Fails. He basically said, it was a Fundamentalist Fails. He was talking to Eric Hovind, and basically he said, look, there is no physical way around the speed of light problem, because if you change the speed of light, you also change, you know, molecular momentum and things like that. It changes all of these other stuffs, and the universe just, it does not work. Like, you cannot do that.
It sounds like Faulkner, Danny Faulkner's.
Yes, Danny Faulkner, thank you. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep, so
and he's like the only honest one who will actually say that you can't
Right.
fuck with the speed. Because Jason Lyle is like,
Correct.
well, let's just fuck with the speed of light. That'll fix everything.
So
That's
really,
what I thought you might have been talking about was Lyle
Yeah.
with the synchrony conventions. That's a
No,
whole
no.
different-
Danny Faulkner, he basically says, yeah, I disagree with Lyle because you can't change the speed of light. Like, it just does not work. And
If you
he's
change
basically...
the speed of light, particle decay rates would change because Lorentz symmetry would change. Like, this is one of
Right,
the most
right.
fundamental features of physics today. It's used in classical mechanics, relativity, quantum mechanics, quantum field theory. Lorentz symmetry is just the idea that the laws of physics are invariant in all inertial frames of reference. And no matter how you choose to coordinate yourself in space-time, the laws of physics are the same.
Yeah. But it really was a case of Eric Hovind, and this is Kent Hovind's son, or Hovind the Lesser, as we call him, basically going, but couldn't it have been, in the past it was a different speed? And Danny Faulkner's like, no, if you change that, like, so many variables are changed. Like, no, you can't do that. And he's like, well, what about outside of our solar system? And he's like, no, like, you can't change the speed of light. So Danny Faulkner eventually just went, well, because you can't change the speed of light in any physical way, we have to acknowledge that it was basically a miracle that did it. It was something divine that did it. Mm-hmm. So basically he's saying, yeah, because you can't change the speed of light, it has to be magic that the universe is 6,000 years old. That's essentially what the guy is saying.
Mm-hmm. And I appreciate Faulkner for that, because he makes them own the fucking magic tricks.
Yep. That you like, because that light cannot travel to us over 6,000 years because it has a maximum speed that it can go, which is c, the speed of light in a vacuum. It cannot get here any faster. It just cannot. And the whole thing is that, he talked about, haven't they slowed down the speed of light in a lab? And it's like, yeah, in using like some kind of particles in there, they can slow down the speed of light by making it reflect off things. And, so in a vacuum is what we're talking about. But even if they did, that doesn't solve your problem. That means that the universe is older, right? That the light took longer to get to us, not faster, right? Even if they can slow it down, it doesn't help you. Like, it actually isn't. So they've got no answer for this. So it's funny that he brought up A, something completely unrelated to redshift, and B, a massive problem for the creationist side. How does light, 13.6 million light years away, reach us in 6,000 years? That's a massive problem.
Years away. The Bible clearly claims...
Don't look at that. That slide's a mistake. And then he goes back to a slide that he's already shown. What the hell is going on? Like, he just doesn't have an answer. And just, sleight of hand. Oh, wow.
Sleight of hand or slide of hand?
Slide of hand. Look, I wish I could have this guy's confidence while being so absolutely, while screwing up so comprehensively and badly, have this guy's confidence. Like, seriously, it's pathological. Wow. Jason T obviously wants, can you change the speed of light in water? Okay.
17 times that God stretched out the heavens.
Can't.
When you look at this...
Well, no, not really, no.
You can
through a
change
telescope.
you can elongate the trajectory that a photon travels,
Yes.
but it will still travel at sea.
Some pretty good sized telescopes here at our science center in Dinosaur Adventureland in Lenox, Alabama. You get the biggest telescope you can find and look at the closest star, Alpha Centauri, in the Proxima Centauri group. All you see is a dot. It never gets bigger. You never see the flames leaping off like you do on the sun.
What? You can get a
He thinks this is true when we can see galaxies billions of light years away in pretty decent detail.
Why? What the hell?
you just see a dot. Stars are a long ways away. I want to get to supernova here. Let's see, I cover all this on my video number 7. How many supernovas have been observed? Let me go back to home and go to redshift. There we go. Okay. So what is the redshift? If you look at the star and you bring the light in through a spectroscope and break it up into the colors of the prism, you'll see there's lines on there, and they're shifted over toward the red. What does that mean? Well, that's an indication of what's called the Doppler effect.
Sorry?
I said spectral lines, Kent.
Spectral lines.
Effect. Okay? If you're sitting at a train track and the train's coming toward you, the sound is compressed and it goes, and when it goes past you, the sound is stretched out and it's refracted. So the sound from the Doppler effect of the train.
I'm sorry, did he say refracted?
Rarefied.
Rarefied. Okay. I thought he said refacted. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Red factory.
Okay.
Well, somebody needs to record that sound, and every time they're like doing something on Kent and they get a Kent Hovind fail, just play that clip.
Okay.
You've all heard that in various things. Whether you're moving past the train or the train's moving past you, it works either way. So we talk about the absorbed material, the redshift, more if you like, but I got plenty of that on video number 7. Say redshift. Okay. So clocks, gravity, and limits of relativity.
Okay, what does that have to do with anything? That shows that, hey, the galaxies... So he admits that they're moving away. Why are they moving away, Kent? Why? Like, that's the question that you need to answer. Like, if God wants to make this Earth for humans and, you know, set everything around... Why is he flinging the galaxies off into the you know, dark depths of the universe?
Well, that's why there's so many discs. They're frisbees. He's he's tossing frisbees. Oh, maybe they're pizzas. He's spinning pizzas and they're flying off.
I have no idea. It just seems
That's
really
why
weird.
There's the elliptical galaxies. Is they're the wads of dough that haven't been squished yet.
But what's annoying is that if you catch out Kent with something he doesn't know, he'll just say, "Oh, you'll find out once you get to heaven." You know, like when I get to heaven, then God will tell me then, kind of thing. And that's really his shtick.
Activity. Human world space.
Oh yeah. Human worlds. Huh? Okay. It's terrible.
What is a red shift? What is a red shift? Let's see. The light from nearly every galaxy, as they see, it looks like, because the Doppler effect, it looks like the stars are all moving away. They all exhibit.
It doesn't just look like, they are moving away. Who are you going to believe, the Bible or your lying eyes, okay?
A red shift. So they've said, wow, that proves they used to be closer. A reasonable assumption, not proven, but a reasonable assumption. So if we're standing here on the Earth and all the stars appear to be giving a red shift, and that looks like, wow, all the stars are moving away from us. Well, then that would fit the Bible model that God made the earth first on day 1. He made the heaven and the earth, Genesis 1:1. And then he made the stars on day 4, and then he stretched them out. So if he made the earth and then he made the stars and stretched them out, we would see a red shift in every direction, wouldn't we? Yeah. So they made up.
Yeah. That explains it perfectly. Yeah.
Yep.
No, if he stretched them out, like in past tense, then we shouldn't see a redshift continuing at all. I don't. Oh, boy.
These Hubble matched up these redshift with distance estimates. Just because you see a redshift, you can't measure the distance from that. The way they measure the distance, Bible says God stretched out the heavens. He stretched.
It is he that sitteth on the circle of the earth. Flat earth, anybody? And the inhabitants thereof are as grasshoppers, that stretcheth out the heavens at a curtain, and spreadeth them out as a tent to dwell in. Yeah, that does not describe any part of the universe. The heavens are not a tent, Kent. Wow.
And older versions say something like stretched out like a cloth, and even older versions say something like hammered out the metal of the cosmos, as in the outer dome, but whatever.
Out the heavens. Here's the deal. The light from the star coming toward us should get, everybody's asking the question, how did the light get here from that star? It must be billions of light years away. They're asking the wrong question. instead of how did the light get from the star to here, the question is how did the star get from here to there? If God made the earth first and then he stretched out the heavens, the question is, he made the stars after the earth and stretched them out into place. Of course, there's a redshift. Students are never taught that. First law of thermodynamics.
Students are never taught that, except in my school where I taught for 15 years.
First law of what now? Thermodynamics?
Zelling said thermodynamically. I was like, who is thermodynamically? And can I read what he wrote down?
Please.
How can galaxies be speeding up?
Huh?
Was he related to Pythagoras?
Pythagoras,
can you back that up a couple clicks?
Star get from here to there. If God made the earth first and then he stretched out the heavens, the question is, he made the stars after the earth and stretched them out into place. Of course, there's a redshift. Students are never taught that. First law of thermodynamics. How can
thermodynamically? Wow.
Oh, shit.
What is this man? Like, seriously, how? I don't understand how you could be married to this man for any length of time and just not be constantly in cringe mode. Like, seriously, what the hell?
Galaxies be speeding up? They're teaching that the farther away the galaxies get, the faster they go. Where are they getting the fuel to speed this up?
At the gas
Did you
and
guys
go,
know
Ken.
that if you draw a line of dots on a balloon and then you start inflating the balloon, the further away the dots are from each other, the faster they'll move away as you inflate the balloon? Where are they getting that energy to speed up from? Like, how are those dots? Did they got little engines on them? How do they do that?
They get the energy from gas and go. That's basically, they're just refueling as they go. Like, that is not how it works. That is how nothing works, because they're not moving. Space in between them is expanding. That's
The more
all.
space, the greater the expansion.
Correct. Oh boy.
How do you speed up a massive object like a star? This is simple physics, Leo. You have
Then the stars aren't speeding up. That's the thing. Space itself is expanding, not the stars. Like, oh boy. Like, he thinks that you've, like, because we're describing them in terms of speed, that they got to have a rocket on them propelling them or something. No! Oh boy.
to have energy added to it to speed it up. Is it expanding towards something else that's attracting it? If so, what made that other thing out there that's attracting it? So the idea that the universe is expanding and increasing in velocity, you guys got some real questions you better
we didn't say they were increasing in velocity. That's the thing. No one's saying that because it's all relative.
Yeah, who's he arguing with here?
I don't know.
He's saying Leo, but he's shadowboxing it, some imagined version of a hypothesis no one's proposed.
Because in everything's inertial frame of reference, it's absolutely stationary, right? It just moves relative to everything else. So when space expands, that's just moving relative to us. Like, wow.
It's worth noting that that brightness test Hubble conducted that I mentioned earlier, he observed that everything appears to be relatively stationary. If it were in actual motion, we'd see a decrease in brightness as a function of how much of its velocity relative to the speed of light. There's a dimming effect, and we don't observe that. So he demonstrated that the most distant galaxies viewable at the time were locally at rest. And he proposed a possible workaround that it might be a high degree of spatial curvature, which we have since ruled out and he believed was unlikely at the time. TLDR, even while Hubble was trying to knock down the expanding universe model, he was still showing cool new stuff that we've built upon today, like the fact that galaxies are locally at rest.
answer. And matter cannot be created or destroyed. Let's see. We can talk forever about that if you'd like. Okay.
Yeah, I'd not, because you don't understand anything about Newton's laws at all. Like, wow.
Certainly the most famous equation in all of physics, perhaps the most important, the force equals the mass times acceleration. Where, if the mass of the star is accelerating, where's the force coming from? Where did it go? Let's see. I want to get to right here about the redshift. God said he stretched him out. He stretched him out. Okay, here's the redshift. If it works with, as far as we know, it works with sound, we know. We think it probably works with light by breaking up.
Probably works with light. Probably.
How does he imagine radars work?
How has he not seen this before? At the rate that people race away from him, he's got to have observed redshift directly.
Why does
That's
everyone
true.
turn red?
Why do all my wives seem red when they leave me?
They must be really angry. Did I really piss them off that bad?
The colors of the rainbow.
Why does Steve seem red when he's going on?
Yeah, I was going to ask, was that a red truck that he stole? Was that red dollar bills, huh?
Oh, and you see the red shifted over toward the red spectrum. The train analogy coming toward you compresses the sound, leaving you. It refracts the sound or stretches it out. I understand all that. If it's coming toward us, it should give a blue shift. Okay. There was an early indication, early sign that red shifts indicate distance to galaxies. However, the diagram shows a wide scatter in apparent brightness at every redshift. In fact, there's little correlation of brightness to redshift at all. So quasars come in extremely wide luminosity, intrinsic luminosities, or redshifts do not indicate distance.
Where does he get that idea? No. Okay, so quasars are weird. There's a bunch of different configurations for quasars. They're fascinating. And one of the things Hugh Ross, the apologist who believes in a created universe and aliens equals demons, can actually legitimately tell you about is quasars. But I digress. They're very high gravity fields. Every light source that you see does have some gravitational redshift to its light. With most stars, it's negligible. But with quasars, it's a big factor, and it depends on the mass of the quasar and its nature. Like, something that is an active galactic nuclei, basically a blazar. We're talking, hundreds or thousands or millions of stellar masses, and it's the material around it that's being compressed as it's sinking into the event horizon, and then you get the magnetic effect that produces the blast laserized high energy matter beam. Yeah, that's it, the relativistic jet. That's going to have a very, very high gravitational redshift. So yeah, it's not exclusively distance. It also depends on a bunch of other stuff, including ridiculous masses.
But that doesn't mean that galaxies, like we're talking about individual stars, quasars, right? Like that's not
quasars are quasi-stellar objects. Well, so quasars are a particular category of quasi-stellar objects. This can be broken down into a variety of lasers. You have quasi-stellar objects, so-called, because they're very, very distant. But like if you look, you could see them in the sky with your naked eye, and it would just look like a star. But they're not stars. They can be broken down into what are called, as Ember mentioned, active galactic nuclei, which are these like supermassive black holes at the center of this sort of galactic-like structure that is actively consuming large sums of material. As she said, hundreds of millions of stellar masses, honestly, probably per second, is being accreted onto this black hole. Now, this can come with the emission of radio waves. And there is a particular threshold of radio wave emission. Below that threshold, these objects are known as radio quiet. And above that threshold, they're known as radio loud, which is where quasar, quasi-stellar radio source, comes from. Quasars are just radio loud, active galactic nuclei. And oftentimes, these black holes are rotating at extreme rates. As a result of this, through some physics that's not entirely understood, they wind up their magnetic fields, and somewhere between 40 to 60% of the infalling material doesn't even pass the event horizon. It's beamed away from the poles of the black hole in the form of the relativistic jets, as a result of the interaction of these charged particles with the extraordinarily wound magnetic field of the black hole.
So they're basically the core of a galaxy.
Effectively, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Do the redshifts tell a distance? Here's the problem with measuring the distance to a star, and I give a long diatribe on this.
How many fucking slides is this guy gonna go through?
No, I can't find my slides. There's a slide here that'll make him look silly.
It's funny because you can tell when he's trying to fill the air as he's like desperately looking for the next slide.
Nice.
The redshift might be stretching from the creation. It might be the light is getting tired traveling those great distances.
I'm sorry, the
for
light
fuck's
is getting
sake.
tired?
Oh,
Okay,
not
so
the tired
that's
light.
a
God.
different hypothesis. That was Hoyle's favorite thing for a while when he was trying to do the steady state alternative. He's like, well,
Yeah.
maybe the light's getting tired. Hoyle failed over and over and over throughout his entire life. This was when I was a Big Bang denier. I worked with Dr. Halton Arp at the Max Planck Institute on a modern version of tired light. This was what I did in physics. It doesn't work.
Right.
Halton
Wait, are you telling me
died.
you have a PhD
It
in
doesn't
physics?
work.
Wait, hold up. Do you have a degree in physics?
Mhm.
Sweet. What can I ask? What level of degree?
I'd rather not get into it, but I will say that one's not a doctorate.
Okay. It's fucking sweet.
It could be
No.
the effects of traveling great distance through space, whatever space is made out of. Okay, I get tired when I travel through the water and swim a long way. The Doppler effect could be light is
The water. And swim a long way. Please, swim away now, Kent. You're terrible. Swim away. Swim. Go.
slowed down or speeded up by gravity, like a black hole or dark matter, purely theoretical. Robert Gentry has a great article on that on halos.com. Let's see, right here. So the way they measure the distance to a star.
Virgo the Virgin and Leo the Lion. It's about astronomy, not astrology, Kent. Come on. Focus. What the hell was that?
These are pagan gods. You worship pagan gods in the sky.
Astrology is just a religion. But at least maybe it was in there for you, Leo. Maybe he had Virgo the Virgin and Leo the Lion for you. You know. Oh boy.
Is here. It's trying to get the angle. It's called the parallax trigonometry. As you go further out, the distance would be greater. If simple trig, I taught trig for years. Okay. How did the
I taught trig for years. Okay. What the hell?
I should have asked, and I'd love to ask him if he could tell me what an arc second is.
ever form into clumps like stars and galaxies? If the Big Bang is true and everything is spreading out, well, the longer you wait, the further apart they get.
1 minute.
So how can they get back together to form a galaxy? I think you got a real
I got a spider on my wall I got to take care of right quick.
Really? I thought that was an Australian thing. Anyway.
problem here. You guys want to claim that everything got together by gravity. Who made gravity? And the Big Bang would absolutely destroy. All we have is a space.
Who made gravity? You can't answer that. You can't tell me who made gravity. What
But
the
Mark,
hell?
who put the bop in the bop shabop? Who put the ram in the ram in the ding dong?
What the fuck? Oh god. Oh shit.
A giant cloud. The universe would be a bunch of dust particles floating around out there. If the Big Bang were true, they would never get together. And I meant to get to, if I
together.
When I see a car in Pensacola, he's headed east. It's Steve with my money.
Yeah, please.
Oh, Steve, come back.
Steve, stole my money. Steve, my computer's broken and you stole my money.
see a car headed east in Pensacola at 70 miles an hour.
It's my wife leaving me. I'm sorry.
Does that prove it started in Los Angeles 30 hours ago? No.
Does that prove that Steve stole my money? Oh, wow. Wow.
What we see is stars giving a redshift.
I don't get this, though, because, like, a car has, like, brakes and can turn and has someone operating it. You're basically saying, like, if that star is traveling a certain velocity or whatever, it's not really, but, you know, in relation to us, then you can't tell it started here. It's like saying, well, if a stone is rolling down a hill, you can't tell that it started, you know, a certain way up. Yeah, we can, because it's not a fucking car. Like, what are you talking about, Kent?
Well, what's really fucked up about this is it's like saying, if the universe is expanding, then how can you get from Perth to Melbourne?
Right.
If the Earth is this spinning globe that's spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, then how come airplanes can fly places? Shouldn't the Earth just be moving underneath them? Ha ha! You stupid globe turd.
Gotcha. Yeah, and this is what we notice with young Earth creationists. They use essentially the same arguments as flat earthers, just applied to a different subject, you know, the age of the Earth. And they will do all the same tricks, the same conflation, the same rejection of science. They do the same thing, just different subject. They have the same arguments. It's kind of ridiculous.
Oh, have you maybe you covered it for a Fundamentalist Fails and I missed it. But what's his name? Kelvin Smith from AIG Canada. He did a thing on flat earthers, debunking flat earthers, and like every single argument works on young Earth. But he's like, yeah, they're obviously conspiracy theorists who believe nonsense. But we have the truth.
Yeah.
Making the same
Believing
argument.
the Earth is flat? Ridiculous. Believing it's 6,000 years old? Shit, bud. I'm sold.
Yeah.
And what they want to think is we can go back millions of years and they all started in a duck. That's where the stupidity comes in to the whole Big Bang Theory. All right, I'll tell you my time.
All right, I appreciate that opening statement, Kent. That concludes the 12-minute opening statements. Gentlemen, thank you so much for...
Yeah, and they might have just gotten on at the last exit. Okay, all right. Well, you know, a star's not a car, right? Like a galaxy is not a car. Why do you have to explain that to somebody?
Next we'll have to explain that cars don't reproduce.
Yeah, that's probably what we'll have to explain next. Yes.
Visuals and great presentations from the both of you. So that being said, we're now moving into the first uninterrupted rebuttal. We've got 8 minutes on the clock, and Leo, whenever you're ready, the floor is yours.
Awesome. So Kent asks initially, where did the mass and the energy come from? Well, I don't know if anybody else in the audience remembers. I certainly do. The very first caveat that I gave in my introductory statements was that contemporary cosmology does not address that question. It's a meaningless question to ask in regards to this debate, as the subject of this debate simply doesn't deal with it. We don't have any physics to describe where mass energy came from, or whether or not that's even a meaningful question to ask. I believe Kent said something along the lines of like cosmology violating the first law. It doesn't. Primarily for the reasons that I just outlined, that it doesn't address where the mass and the energy came from. Also, thermodynamic laws apply to things within space-time, but they do not apply to space-time itself as a whole. He also presented a false dichotomy when he said that we only have two choices: either it made itself or it was created.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, absolutely, 100% on. Yep.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if I had addressed that in the.
Yeah. No, bang on. Yeah, exactly.
The third choice is that the universe could have existed tenselessly. It just is as a brute fact or a brute contingency, or it could be that the universe is eternal to the past in some way. So that would be a false dichotomy on Kent's part to limit it to just those two options. Mm-hmm. I don't have a religious belief. I don't adhere to any doctrines that prescribe the worship of a deity, which is how religions are defined by the Oxford and the Cambridge English dictionaries. And I have never claimed thus far in this discussion that mass, energy, and space-time can create themselves. So I don't know why he's mentioning that when I never made that claim. He also said that the second law of thermodynamics tells us...
Oh, I know why he's mentioning it, because that sounds reasonable, and he has to make it seem absurd, so he will strawman your position. I know why he's saying it. Yeah. It's kind of obvious, really, when you think about it, but, you know. It's unbelievable he has no shame in doing so. You know, that he strawmans that badly with no shame at all. It's wild.
That everything tends toward disorder. This isn't really correct. What the second law tells us is that systems containing the ability to do work, as they do work, will see that ability to do work decline. And this only applies on a global scale. So for instance, the Earth or really any of the planets in our solar system are not closed systems. They are actively receiving energy from the sun. Also, I didn't state that the universe came into existence. Again, I outlined initially that we don't. That question doesn't mean anything to cosmologists right now. We don't have answers to that. Nobody does. People might think that they do, but nothing empirical. If you want to think that your answer is correct, there's nothing wrong with that, but nobody, scientist or otherwise, has any empirical data to back up any of their claims concerning that. Also, galactic recession is not a result of added energy into the galaxies, because again, the galaxies themselves are not moving.
Yes.
The space between the galaxies is expanding. Their movement comes from existing in space, which is itself moving. And space-time simply expands because of the energy intrinsic to it that we call dark energy. He also mentioned the concept of tired light.
Yeah, so some of those distant galaxies can be moving from our perspective faster than the speed of light, but they're not actually moving. Like they're just there, and the space in between them is expanding. And because it's so far away, and all the space between is expanding, it just relative to us, they're traveling faster than the speed of light. But they're not. You know, like it's just a relativity thing, right? Am I right on that?
Well, there's two different modes of thought on that one. One of them is that because relative frames of reference always have to factor in the observer's position, you can't have anything moving even relative to you faster than the speed of light. It'll just be 99 point an endless series of 9%.
Yeah.
Then there's another faction, the smaller faction, who believes you absolutely can go seemingly faster than the speed of light, as
But
long
we'd
as
never
you bear
know
in
about
mind
it.
it's an optical illusion based on your perspective. It's not settled per se, but the 99 point endless string of nines seems to be winning the consensus
Okay.
battle.
Well, even if it could, we'd never know about it, because if it is like relative to us moving fast, that light would never reach us. Do you know what I mean? Like that light from those stars would never actually reach us.
Well, it may. There's a few different mathematical ways that you could cross an infinitely expanding distance. It gets really complicated. But the
Okay.
important thing is the greater the distance, the more intense the redshift. Even if the photons made it to us, they would be so viciously redshifted. How could we even detect them?
Right. Right. No, that's fair. That's fair.
which just doesn't work. Electromagnetic radiation propagates at a constant speed through the vacuum of space. There would be nothing for it to resist and for it to slow the light down. Also, stellar formation, which he touched on briefly, isn't really relevant to this discussion. How stars form doesn't matter to the very earliest moments of the universe when stars didn't yet exist. So just to conclude my first rebuttal, I didn't really hear Kent give a model explaining any of the observations that we've made.
Correct.
He didn't provide a model that can make testable predictions that we could confirm through experimentation. And if he wants to contend with the concordance model, with the standard model of cosmology, he's going to need to propose a model himself that at least as well, it hopefully better explains the observation.
That's a damn lie, Leo. He quite evidently pointed out the Bible says God did it. That was his model. No, I'm serious. That's his model.
It's true.
Yeah, that is.
The Bible says that God did it. And how can we be sure? Because the Bible says it.
Job 17x, he stretches out the north over the nothing.
Over the nothing. Yeah, that's clearly talking about the Big Bang. Yeah, exactly what Hubble observed.
We make and
Yeah,
have more
everybody knows that
accurate
in 1 Corinthians 16 verses 963 through 735,000, that God took a really big shit, and that he said, "Oh, I exploded the toilet. I was totally the Big Bang." we're all just God shit. 13.8 billion years in the future.
Didn't you see my slide on toilets? Okay.
mathematical theorization behind it. And at least thus far, he has not yet done so. And I will yield the remainder of my time.
I appreciate
Nice yield. You know, addressed all of the things.
I was only like half the time that I was allotted to.
Man, like he had nothing to address, really. Like there was nothing there. Like, yeah, I like this. I don't get bogged down in this nonsense.
that rebuttal, Leo. And as we always do, whatever.
Oh, he doesn't look happy, does he? He really doesn't.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
Time is not used for the uninterrupted portions, we toss into either the discussion or the Q&A. And we've got a lot of great questions coming in, so it should be a good Q&A.
I want to make a
I'm
joke.
going to restart the clock.
I'm not sure. Some of you white people might get this joke, but I feel like what's going through Kent's head right now is, oh, you uppity nit.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, I dread to think what's going through his head, like seriously. But you know, we know from seeing Kent, he really has that narcissistic quality that,
God, yeah.
you know, as soon as he starts to feel insecure, he really will sort of talk himself up, because that's what narcissists do. You know, he can't go, hey, you know, I could be wrong on this. So the more somebody makes him feel insecure, the more confidence and sort of, you know, that arrogance he's going to project.
Yeah.
If you've never seen it, he got somebody in on his stream once, somebody who had worked in mental health care, not a doctor, not a psychologist, no degrees, whatever, just someone that had worked in that space, to tell everybody that he's not a narcissist. And that was the most bewilderingly weird stream, or one of the most bewilderingly weird streams I've ever seen. Like, honestly, I've never seen anything like it. Him getting one of his volunteers in to tell everybody that he's not a narcissist.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
That's like the current president of the United States with his doctor.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm 232 pounds and I'm healthy as a man in his 30s, and I could kick a horse.
Yeah.
He's
like 12 years younger than his physical appearance, or however it was worded, and I'm just like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
The guy's been having TIAs for probably 2 years now. Like, there's no, like, that whole thing, like a month and a half or 2 months ago, when Trump was like, nobody heard or saw him for like 6 fucking days straight. Yeah, he probably had a stroke. He's on 2 medications that are prescribed for TIAs, which are transient ischemic attacks, I believe, which are a type of like mini stroke that you can have. That were approved by his doctor, that are on record. So, and he displayed a lot of the behavior that seems to indicate that he had likely had a stroke. Like, you can see when Putin came, Putin came to the White House, or he went to meet Putin somewhere, and he was getting off the plane, he was walking down that red carpet, he was like straying back and forth as he was walking. That's one of the signs. The swollen cankles is one of the signs, particularly alongside one of the medications that he was taking that can lead to something that can cause the nasty swollen fat cankles disease that he has. The patch on the hand, which is probably from an IV that people notice, seems to recur every roughly 1 month, which would be akin to getting an IV to treat like these TIAs and stuff. Like, and there's a lot of evidence that this guy's been having mini strokes for like 2 years.
And the bruising,
completely healthy.
The bruising on his hand as well from the IV. Like, it sure looked like IV bruising on, you know, somebody with bad circulation to me. But I'm not a doctor, but that's what it looked like to me. But yeah, these narcissistic types, they will, you know, as soon as somebody doubts them, they will lie their ass off, even it is the most ridiculous lie. You know, so he would have been a lot more believable if Trump had gone out there and said, hey, you know, I have some, you know, health issues, I have some, you know, kidney problems or something like that, but I'm in relatively good health for my age. You know, that would have been a better lie. But instead he goes out and says, like the doctor said, I am the healthiest person he's ever seen in the White House. It's like, come on, man. Like, seriously?
Like, he can't help himself. Like that thing.
I know.
The lady who won the Nobel Peace Prize called me and said, well, I'm accepting it in honor of you because you deserve it. Why?
Oh,
just
God.
outrageous magnitude of lies.
Right.
And with narcissists, go ahead.
Sorry, go. No, you go ahead, Leah.
With narcissists, it's always the game of one-uppings. Oh yeah, dude, I got in a fight the other day. Apparently the guy, and I whooped his ass. I tell you. Apparently the guy's like an NFL linebacker, so I might didn't even know that. And then the other guy's like, yeah, well, you know, I got into a fight a couple days ago too. You know, I ended up getting a fight with a UFC fighter. So, and then the narcissists shoot back. Well, I fucking fought a dinosaur last week. Okay, like, they don't care how ridiculous it sounds. They've got to one up you. They got to go one fucking higher.
Jester for $5 says, but listen, But listen, he's so healthy that he takes the stairs really slow, okay, and doesn't embarrass the US or anything by sending DMs to his main feed, okay? Oh, that was hilarious. That was hilarious. That was hilarious. Like Jester's talking about, if you haven't seen it, he sent a DM to Pam Bondi that went out. Well, I mean, it was addressed to Pam. It was like, "Hey Pam," kind of thing. And it went out on, I think it was Telegram or something, just public, or Truth Social, just public, basically saying, "What's happening with the prosecution of Comey and these other people? They need to be prosecuted. It's an embarrassment," kind of thing. And if you don't know, the US Department of Justice shouldn't be at the president's beck and call. It's supposed to be independent, that it works for the people and not the president. But he sent that out, and a lot of people said, did he mean that to be private? Because that is such a breach of norms that you're telling the Department of Justice, the president telling the Department of Justice who to prosecute, is such a breach of norms. And people said, oh, did he just send it out by accident? And all of his people said, no, absolutely was not an accident. It's what he meant to do and stuff. And then he came out and said, oh, yeah, I sent it out accidentally. And it's just like, wow.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
I get
mean,
you, Jester. That's wild. That's wild.
Saying the things out loud, like election night, right? He gets on live TV. He's like, "Oh yeah, we're winning, but it's a good thing that Elon fixed it for us, or we wouldn't have won." Like, you're on live TV, my guy. Of course, nothing ever came of it because this man never faces any consequences for anything ever. But he just says shit out loud with no consequences. So why would he stop saying shit out loud?
Yep.
But it's just what's amazing to me is that all of his people desperately try and cover his crimes and his alleged crimes and his missteps. And then he just throws them under the bus by just admitting them out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they all try and cover for him. And he goes, why are you covering for me? Here's the... And it's just like, wow, your people have just tried to help you. And you've just, completely thrown them in the dirt. It's wild. It's wild. Well, yeah. Well, there's a limit to that. I hope that Epstein is going to bury him. That's what I hope. But,
Maybe.
We'll see.
It seems to be the only thing MAGA actually cares about, or at least a section of MAGA.
Yeah. Enough of them care about.
I think there's a lot of people pissed off about the $20 billion to Argentina, and now this like Qatari airbase or something like that, or a Qatari outpost that's going to be a part of one of our air bases in Idaho. All of a sudden.
Oh, and refitting the jet from Qatar, or Yemen or wherever the fuck. I think it's Qatar. Yeah, it'll cost an extra $1 billion to make it fit for Air Force One service, which is much more than a new Air Force One from Boeing would cost. But never mind that. There's a bunch of weird shit. But yeah, a lot of people are pissed about the money to Argentinian farmers, while our farmers are all fucked completely.
Well, it's not really to Argentinian farmers, it's to the leader of them. It's just Argentina has undercut soybean farmers. So the soybean farmers in America basically have been undercut. But the reason why is because he's the leader of Argentina is a bit of a strong man and Trump likes him. That's why they're getting the money.
Javier Milei.
But that is also compiled with a lot of other problems as well. For instance, America just lost a contract in Canada for over-the-horizon radar to Australia because Canada doesn't want to work with America.
Valid.
It's strange, you threaten to invade somebody's country and they just don't want to work with you anymore. It's weird, right? It's strange.
Yeah, I can't understand why. But yeah, I mean, the whole thing with we canceled the USAID because America first. And now instead of America first, we're sending the money to another dictator because he likes him and fuck America. It's like we killed a whole bunch of people in Africa for this, and now you're still sending it to a different foreign country anyway. Asshole. Double asshole, really, but whatever.
And you have up to 8 minutes. Whenever you're ready, let me unmute you real quick, Ken. Okay, you're good to go.
Well, thank you so much. Yes, Leo, I heard very clearly your first statement that you do not know where time-space matter came from, which is what I pointed out. Therefore, you have an incomplete theory. You cannot...
No, it's not incomplete because the theory is not supposed to cover where time, space, and matter come from. So it's not incomplete. Like, this is the thing. Like, just because you say, hey, God did it for everything, doesn't mean you have a complete theory. Like,
well, you know,
wow.
The theory doesn't cover the carbon dating of the Shroud of Turin, so it's not a complete theory.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
Force what you believe to be taught to everybody as if it's part of science when it doesn't have a beginning. You don't know. To say that it's eternal obviously would violate the obvious, everything's decaying, everything's falling apart, the second law of thermodynamics. Things get worse with the energy is being used up. It's being dissipated as heat and lost for use. You said that the galaxies are not moving away. The space-time is expanding. I've heard that that's one of the dumbest statements anybody's ever made. I've heard that for 30 years now. It makes no sense.
What?
What?
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Kent, buddy. Sam,
the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I've heard that for 30 years.
You can actually observe the universe expanding without even leaving your couch, right? Because time and space, Einstein showed, are a linked fabric. When space expands, time expands. When time expands, space expands. It's a linked expansionary process, right? Every second that goes by, there's 1 second more of the universe from that time zero. The amount of time the universe is occupying in a spatial sense as a time dimension is expanding, and you can observe that. Now, you have to take Einstein's math as proof that equates to spatial expansion as well, but we can, and because it's math, we can develop a proof based on it. But if that's not enough for you, we can do experimental tests based on what we might predict from that math. But the base observation that you can observe seconds passing is because the universe is expanding.
Sense to anybody that ever hears it. We're not getting farther apart. The space between us is increasing. Think about it. Okay. Space is expanding.
So what kind of response is that? Well, that's dumb. Think about it. Just think about it. Heard that for 30 years. Think about it.
That's not an argument.
The Bible says.
The Bible says that space-time is actually staying still because he spread it out like the heavens.
I'll be right back again. I'll go use the loo.
Believe that, but that's not science. That's a religious belief. Okay. The speed of light is not a constant. 186,282 miles per second.
I don't know. I think kilometers, that's 300,000 kilometers a second is better, quite frankly, because it's just easier to remember.
It
Researchers
is.
say that.
I mean, we love those imperial, how many 342,000 kidney beans to a furlong,
Yeah.
It's our favorite thing.
Yeah.
They slowed light down to a dead stop. This was back in 20 years ago.
Right, that doesn't matter. That doesn't help you. Right? If it takes 13.6 billion years to get to you, right? And you say, hey, but what if it was slower? That doesn't get you towards the 6,000. It gets you more time to get to us. Wow.
2001. Let's see. The achievement was a landmark feat, reined in by nature's swiftest, most ethereal form of energy, and for the first time could help realize what are now theoretical concepts for vastly increasing the speed of computers. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we've increased the speed of computers by using light. Yes, because light's really fast. All of our backhaul, which is the cabling that the internet uses across oceans, across everything, it's fiber optic. We use light. Yes, because it's so frigging fast. That doesn't mean that it can go faster than that.
It's
and just
so fast. It's crazy how fast it is.
Yeah.
Viewers, you may not be aware of this fact, but Leo and I are on the North American continent,
Mhm.
and Mark is in Australia. We're on opposite sides of the fucking planet, and you can't tell because of the lag, because light is so fast.
Yeah, lag is probably 0.3 millisecond or 3 milliseconds or so. 30 milliseconds? Yeah, it's like it's basically 1/3 of a second. So there is a slight delay, right? Like there is a slight delay, but it's almost not noticeable because it's just not enough for us to interrupt our communication. It's incredible. And none of this was done with prayer and like praying to God and stuff. All of it was done by science and understanding the speed of light and understanding, light attenuation and stuff like this. Like none of it. This is so stupid.
You guys had mentioned
0.06 seconds ish.
That so he had mentioned the speed of light in miles per second. And Mark's like, I prefer kilometers per second, 300,000, because it's easier to remember. I prefer natural units because it's the easiest to remember. The speed of light is 1.
1 AU? Yeah. Okay.
No, just 1.
1.
Just 1.
Mm-hmm.
The speed. Do you know the speed of light is one light?
Yeah. In natural units, yes, the speed C equals H bar equals 1.
Okay. No, that's fair.
No, that's largely what particle physicists use, but regardless, if I'm doing cosmology, I like to just state what the constant is. C is equal to 2.99792.458 times 10 to the 8th meters per second. That one, people go, what? Run that by me again, son. You know what's really funny is I also have a Planck's constant memorized, and I don't even know how. I never made an attempt. It's 6.626 times 10 to the negative 34th joule seconds. I don't know how. It just stuck. It's just somebody threw it at the wall, and it just stayed there.
I don't know how I fit. I can tell you that a longsword in D&D does 1d8. I don't know how I'm going to counter that.
I can tell you that 1 game tick in RuneScape is equal to 0.6 seconds. There are 100 game ticks in a minute.
I can tell you that my shitty game runs on 30 FPS. I don't know. I think I've been ruined for remembering numbers because in my field you've got to remember tons of acronyms like, HTML, hypertext, markup language and stuff like that. I think it's been ruined for it. It's just like these frigging initializations and acronyms. Please.
Blame the Americans.
The thing with physics is you'll see like a Greek symbol and you'll be like, okay, there's like 6 things that could mean. Like you see lambda, and you're just like, well, now see.
That's where you got to use context, What the hell?
2 independent teams at Harvard University and another university, I can't pronounce the name, said at Smithsonian.
Westergaard Hall? Is that what he's talking about?
Harvard, but he said he couldn't pronounce the university name. It's Roland Institute in Cambridge. What? I don't. Why? I don't understand.
Did it. And also at Cambridge in astrophysics, we have succeeded in holding a light pulse still without taking all the energy away from it. This is 20 years ago. Okay.
So how does that get you? Like, I understand. Okay, let's just say they've slowed down and even stopped light. How does that get you to a earlier universe coming in? It doesn't. It's a problem because if that light is slower, it takes longer to get you, and the universe is older than 13.6 billion years.
We have a similar effect with gravity, right? Like we can make relative time run slower by increasing the strength of gravity,
right?
But even if we go up to 0 gravity, we can't make time go faster,
right?
Yeah, if you are stationary with respect to some object, then with respect to that object, you are moving through time at the speed of light, which is 1 second per second.
Break the speed of light back in 2000. They claim to have broken the ultimate speed of barrier, the speed of light. They speeded light up to 300 times the speed of light. Oh, okay. By running it through cesium gas, etc.
That's not a fuck's sake.
Has anybody broken the speed of light? I know that they've transmitted information faster, quote unquote, than the speed of light by using quantum entanglement, but it's not traveling faster than the speed of light. It's not actually moving at all.
Yeah, I'd have to go dig into to find that. New York Times articles are it's first of all, it's fun that it's a newspaper article and not the paper that the newspaper would have been referencing. But yeah, New York Times paywalls everything, so that makes it much harder to get the actual information and see what Kent misunderstood.
Yeah. Yeah, previous fast and light demonstrations aren't able to send messages at superliminal speeds.
Yeah, I just was reading from Science. It is interesting, though. Yeah, they're not making light move faster. That's not really how that's working, but it is really fucking cool.
Yeah, according to Wang, this effect.
Reading on this right now.
yeah. According to Wang, this effect, though bizarre, can't transmit information faster than the speed of light. In part because the duplication of a finite pulse is imperfect. Physicist A from Steinberg at the University of Toronto hopes that superliminal tricks might speed up computer circuits, although he admits such applications are currently just a dream. So yeah, it seems to suggest that there's
not bored, Reese. That's just, I do that when I'm like balls deep reading an article, fact checking somebody real time. I get real focused in.
Okay, let's see. The speed of light has apparently decreased so rapidly that experimental error cannot explain it. During the last 300 years, 164 separate measurements of the speed of light have been published. When I was teaching high school physics, we used to measure the speed of light in the hallway with rotating mirrors and a laser. Okay, not that hard to do.
What? Okay. How accurate is that?
I mean, I think there is an experiment to do that. I don't know if would you do it in high school physics?
Oh, we're on a different thing now.
Yeah,
I just figured out the last thing.
Okay.
It's just claims upon claims with this dude. Anyway, the last thing it was about dispersion through the cesium gas. It was the propagation of a pulse at a certain wavelength happened faster than the other wavelengths. Not that it was 300 times faster than the speed of light. It was slightly faster than the other wavelengths through that specific medium.
Okay. So he's just basically misunderstood exactly what the
he doesn't understand anything. But it's also a part on the science communicators, and you're saying we made light go faster than the speed of light. No, you didn't. Stop, please stop doing this, guys. Please stop it. Get some help.
Well, I think it is due to also sensationalism from pop science. They sort of say, "Oh, scientists have broken the speed of light," because that's what sells the articles and gets people to click on it.
Just like when that one not very good study came out that said that the universe is like 23 billion years old, actually, and all of these little wannabe science outlets were like, "Oh, the universe is actually like 20 billion years old. Oh my god!" And then people like Ethan Siegel and Sean Carroll and all of these people are just like, "No." So I remember when it first hit. I'm scrolling through Twitter, and I follow Will Kinney, who's a professional cosmologist at the I believe it's the University at Buffalo. And he literally he shares it, and he's just like, "No, it's not." That's it. That's all he said. Just no, it's not.
So if the speed of light is decreasing, University of Glasgow, scientists slow down the speed of light traveling through the air. That was a couple of years ago, 2015. Scientists mess with the speed of light from Live Science. Researchers in Switzerland succeeded in breaking the cosmic speed limit by getting light to go faster.
Did he?
Hitler
I
in
don't think so.
Switzerland.
Switzerland.
Switzerland, maybe, is something like that.
Slide down, even stopping it altogether. Yeah, that doesn't help you. He's just basically saying, hey, the speed of light can change. Yeah, but C doesn't change. The speed of light in a vacuum, that's a constant. So, no.
Than, well, light. Scientists have recently succeeded in doing all sorts of fancy things with light, including slowing it down, even stopping it altogether. Now a team from this place in Switzerland is controlling the speed of light using simple off-the-shelf...
This place in Switzerland, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that.
École Polytechnique. I don't know what the F question.
Federale. It'll be Federale. Like federal.
Oh, yeah, you're
Federale.
right. Federale. De Lausanne.
Lausanne, yep.
Something
He
like
could have just said the EPFL in Switzerland. You know,
yeah,
just,
they give
yeah,
it. They,
I mean,
they give it to you right there in the parentheses.
Right.
Dude, like,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah, it's a
fucking
gimme.
lazy.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's the epitome of Kent Hovind, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to walk around my dinosaur adventureland and, you know, tell people to get to work.
The Kentucky Atheist has a good point. These are his slides. Like, he doesn't even know how to pronounce the shit on his own slide.
Yeah.
You gotta love it. That other reference he gave, that website millennium-arc.net, website doesn't exist.
Of course it doesn't.
Shock. I never would have expected that.
Optical fibers and running it, let's see, without the aid of special media like cold gases or crystalline solids, etc. So I don't think you could prove the speed of light has always been the same. Scientists cannot measure distances accurately.
Yes, it has. And if it's not, there's massive problems with the physics. But could you please provide solutions for those if the speed of light is, you know, as variable as you claim? Of course not. He's not going to do that. He's just going to say, well, God did it and just made sure everything was fine, okay? Okay.
Beyond about 100 light years. With simple trigonometry, you cannot go beyond about 100 light years and measure those distances. It can't be done, okay? It's too narrow of a gap. The angle becomes
strange.
Fucking nitwit.
Observational astrophysicists are doing that all the time. Like the James Webb Space Telescope is literally doing it as we fucking speak.
A few hundred light years. How many stars are within a few hundred light years? Like a lot, but not that many. Like isn't
if
like
you take a few hundred to be like say less than 400? I don't know. Probably like a handful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that many.
A few dozen.
Yeah.
At most. It's wild, but like he mentions Hubble earlier. Hubble's initial claim to fame was proving the distance to a Cepheid variable in Andromeda was bigger than the size of the Milky Way. That's how we knew Andromeda was another galaxy, because we measured accurately the distance to a star more than a few hundred light years away.
So apparently there's somewhere around about 10,000 stars within a 100 light year radius of the sun.
Yeah, and I would agree with Kentucky Atheist. He's kind of just, he's not really doing a rebuttal. He's just doing more introduction or more opening. And I kind of agree with that. He's only sort of, he's trying to make it seem like he's rebutting by saying, oh, you know, my opponent said this. And then he goes off on some other thing that doesn't really address it. He's just doing more opening. I do agree with that.
Whoa. No one knows what light is.
All right, we'll get to that.
Nobody knows what light is. Jesus said he is the light of the world. Maybe.
Oh, yes.
You know, I love all that Jesus I get from the sun on a nice hot day, let me tell you.
That's Professor Jesus to you.
Nobody knows what light is.
Talking about.
Now I'm going to tell you what light is.
No, Jesus said he was the light of the world.
Look, we do know what light. Like, what do you mean by what light is? Like, do you want an energy value? Do you want it's material composition? Do you want its
Photons.
wavelength? Do you want its nature as an electromagnetic wave? Like, what do you want about what light is? Because we have all of those things as parameters pretty fucking well defined.
But have
So
you
what do
considered
you
if it's
mean?
Jesus? Have you considered that it may be Jesus?
The funny thing
we
is,
know the universe is filled with Jesus particles holding everything together and making gravity work and
Oh,
so
yeah,
forth.
that's
And
right.
that's fine and dandy and wonderful. But you can't say no one knows and then say you know in the next fucking breath.
Right.
the funniest thing about this is quantum electrodynamics is an effectively complete description of electromagnetism as a fundamental interaction in nature. I don't know if we have a more complete physical theory of anything than we do electromagnetism through quantum electrodynamics. Light is a gauge boson given by gauge theory in quantum field theory. It arises from it is effectively a resonant perturbation in the electromagnetic field. So you can kind of just poke the electromagnetic field and you get some light. And that's the fun way to describe what's happening.
Ripples in a pond. If you think of our current moment, the present, as the surface of a pond, and it's a three-dimensional surface, though, rather than a two-dimensional surface like a typical pond. But for the purposes of analogy, you poke the surface and it makes the ripples.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And another interesting thing is if I take an electron and I just hold it here, it's just an electron that I'm holding here. But if I start doing this with the electron, you get light. Because if you take an electric charge and you accelerate it around in the electromagnetic field, you will get light. You will shake, quote unquote, the electromagnetic field around you. So, yeah.
If you get an electron and you shake it round, you get Jesus. That's basically what we're saying.
You get Jesus.
That's right.
And on that subject, so left-handed Jedi for $5 US. Thank you so much, Jedi. Jesus have slowed down Jesus to a scientists have slowed down Jesus to a crawl in the laboratory settings. Yes. And did you know that our fiber optic backhaul uses Jesus to transmit the internet? Did you know that? I didn't.
No, Mark, with a season
those are called
they
cables.
nailed down.
Yeah. It's Jesus Hall. It's fiber Jesus cabling is what it is. What the hell?
Oh my goodness.
God is doing all this, but that would be a religious belief on my part, and I'm not asking everybody to pay for my religion to be taught. You guys want everybody to pay for your religion to be taught, and you don't have an answer to where time, space, matter came from. So you have a religious belief that it's either always been, eternal universe, which of course is not scientifically provable, or it came into existence by itself from nothing, which again is not scientifically.
Yeah, if there's multiple beliefs, then it's not a religious belief. That's not religious. We're saying we don't know where it came from. That isn't a religious belief. A religious belief is saying, hey, God did it with no evidence and you take it on faith. We don't. Because nobody's saying, hey, it's eternal and I believe that. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, we can test our things. We're not taking it on faith. Anybody can check anything they want.
Let me make sure I get this right. Disestablishment, I believe that is. It says that photon thing, they are not. The electromagnetic field is a vector field. It's a vector field. I had to think about that for a second. The electron field is not. The electron field is the spinor field. So the structure of the fields is the properties of the particles are different. The electron field can couple to the electromagnetic field through electric charge. That's why the electron field couples to the electromagnetic field, is because the electron field has an electric charge through which it can couple to that field. But they are not the same thing.
That's coincidentally very interesting. The very first thing I was wrong about on a live stream was I misspoke and said that electrons move at the speed of light. And Leo, you corrected me on that in real time. You were like, you said that wasn't right, Ember. Out of it's just so funny that here you are again, and a person is being wrong about photons and electrons being the same thing.
Well, the thing is, I think a lot of people mean photons and then elect in their head, and then they say electron. But yeah, photons. So for the other difference between photons and electrons is electrons are half interspin particles. They're fermions. Photons are bosons. And so the spin value, the spin of an electron, the photon is spin 1. The electron is half integer, so it's like spin 1/2. The photon, it's not spin 0. I think it's spin 1.
I don't know. You guys know more about this than I do.
In fact, a photon can have a spin of +1 or -1, but not a 0.
Yep. Okay. Yep.
So I wanted to do a video on this kind of thing. Anyways, sorry. Go on, Leo. Go.
I was just kind of thinking out loud. The graviton that's either supposed to be a spin 0 or is it like spin 3? Or is it spin 2? I can't. Oh God, I'd have to go look at all that again. I can't remember.
I thought we just said fuck all with the gravitons because they're awfully inconvenient.
I don't like the concept of gravitons.
Google.
Physicists seem to like them. I don't know why.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Because like I get why quantum theory, because it tries to quantize everything. That's the nature of the theory. It wants a carrier particle for every force, but it doesn't make fucking sense in the case of gravity.
Yeah. And that to me, as far as so you can technically use gauge theory to describe gravity. Like it's complicated. It's not applied the same way that it would be to a quantum field theory, like electromagnetism or strong interactions or something like that. But like the concept of gauge invariance exists in general relativity. But I'm not even sure gravity is fundamental the way that electromagnetism or weak interactions or strong interactions is. And if that's the case, then why would I suspect that there is a gauge boson for gravity? That's a legitimate question I need to ask.
Yeah, I can see from a philosophical perspective how that tracks, because it seems like, based on what we see in the real universe we can experiment with, gravity is behaving like an emergent field due to the interactions of other fields.
I do want to comment. Has Leo frozen? Or are you
I was wondering if it was Leo or if it was me.
I don't know. It maybe what you said is so amazing that he just froze. That's what I'm gonna.
Oh, did I? Yeah, I did freeze. My internet's been fucky. I don't know why.
That's all right, mate. That's okay.
So the Higgs boson is spin 0, and the photon, the gluons, and then the W and Z bosons are all spin 1.
Okay. I do want to address just quickly, Lally's been pestering me in chat, and that's okay. I don't mind. I want to do a sort of video on this. I've been trying to put a script together. I'll definitely work on it. If we grant Jesus, what does Jesus being the light means? Well, there's a lot of entailments to that. So if Jesus is just the light, right, well, you might as well stop praying. You can throw your churches out because it doesn't actually do anything for you. Light just does what light does, and it's very predictable. It doesn't do anything special. So if that is the case, why call it Jesus? Like, what's the point? It's just a natural thing that happens. It's just a natural effect of physics. Like what like you're calling light Jesus. Okay. What now?
Yeah,
why do you pray to it? Why do you go to church? Why do you tithe to it? What does light need with your money? Like all of these things, like the entire religion is pointless if you're just going to call light Jesus.
I can see one theological aspect to that. If Jesus is light, then the Father is the Son, because the Son gives us the light. The Son sends its light.
You just
to
realize
earth
you said the
for
Son
us.
is the Father. I just
Yes,
just
Son
want to
is the
point that
Father,
out. Yeah,
and
yeah.
Jesus is his own granddad.
How dare you say Christianity doesn't make sense?
I mean, I was aiming at Ra or Mithras, but whatever
Okay,
works.
sure.
Provable. Yes, I heard your opening statement, and I think it was a great confession on your part that you have a religion. Okay. When the
He never said that. And when we don't know something, we say we don't know. We don't go, well, I've got this God that I believe in and he did it. That's why it's not a religion. Because we don't take things like that. We just say, hey, this is what we know about stuff.
creation was finished, it was mature when God made it. Jesus made wine out of grapes that never existed, aged in time that never was.
Or he didn't do that and it never happened. Why does he think this is evidence?
If anything, that's evidence of a multiverse, and Jesus has the ability to access an alternate reality where there's wine in those barrels instead of water.
I have no idea. Look, I'm not on board with the Jesus extended universe, all right? I don't know all of this lore behind Jesus's supposed miracles, but, there's an alternative explanation for this, that Jesus didn't do any of that stuff. Just saying.
I mean,
So my Bible says in the beginning God.
Sorry?
You can't prove he didn't. Were you
prove he
there?
Were you? Were you?
Created the heaven and the earth. 10 words, first verse.
You know
I take
who
that
was there?
by
Jesus.
The rocks. The rocks.
The
were
rocks
there.
were there. Yes, they were. Except they're very, very reticent about providing us information about that particular event.
The rocks
true.
weren't even there at the
Only the
very early
prophet-
universe. They were just very small rocks. Very, very
like
small.
you could say dust.
Subatomic
or
rocks.
fines even.
faith. I take it. I think that's the best scientific answer we've got. You don't have a scientific answer for the origin of time, space, matter.
I'm sorry, God did it is a scientific answer? No, Ken. No, it's not. That is the least scientific answer ever. Like, wow.
Keep in mind, a light year is a distance. It is not a time. It's the distance light travels in a year. It's like a Hovind minute. How far can Hovind run in a minute? That number is decreasing over the year.
Time.
Distance.
It's time is a factor. That's why it's part of the formula.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
And the only reason it can work as a distance is because that the speed of light is so constant. That's the only reason why. God done it. Yeah, basically, Robin. Good to see you.
But it used to be pretty good back in the day, okay? The speed of light is not proven to be consistent, so why would star distance have anything to do with the age of the universe? If a star...
Since the speed of light is not proven to be consistent, it is in a vacuum. Oh boy. Oh boy. So
literally the point of special relativity is that the speed of light is constant for all observers in all reference frames. Fucking hell. Like we've confirmed this experimentally over and over and over. But also the redshift is just one of the many ways we measure distances and ages. We use it, it's sort of like carbon dating with fossils. It can, well, not carbon dating, radiometric dating with fossils. We can confirm things back and forth, but it's not the only means by which we evaluate things. Like the brightness curve of type 1a supernova. That's one of my favorites because it's one of the things that convinced me that there was a time dilation effect in very distant galactic sources. Fuck.
But I also have to point out
many ways we can measure these distances.
Well, that see, like all of the things of light slowing down have been through some sort of medium that they're using, but like the speed of light is speed of light in a vacuum, right? So it's not talking about speed of light when it gets passed through various mediums to slow it down. It's speed of light in a vacuum.
Is 13.772 billion light years away, which we can't measure. But if it is, God could have made it 10 seconds ago or 6,000 years ago and then stretched it out into place. It would not.
Last Tuesdayism. Oh, it was
It's one of
just
my
created
favorites.
looking old, right? Like I just created looking old.
Mm-hmm. I love that one because it's so intuitive, right? Like I've mentioned before that at the school I went to, every other kid went to church school. I was the only one who got to stay in class with the teacher, and the teacher glaring at me because they couldn't go chill in the teacher's lounge. They had to sit and watch me, the one student who didn't go to church school. So all the other kids would be like, well, how do you explain how the universe got here then, and yada, yada. Even in grade school, I'm like, well, I mean, the universe could have been made last week, and God just retroactively created the past. Who says he couldn't? Are you going to say he couldn't? You know? Like, this is literally grade school bullshit.
Yeah.
Not prove the universe is billions of years old because of a star distance. Okay, keep that in mind. The redshift only shows that nearly all stars are moving away from the Earth. That fits the creation account perfectly. God said,
no, it doesn't. You have to, like you have to really, really ad-lib from that book in order to make it try and match. Plus, the Bible says that the Earth was created before the stars. Right? That is clearly wrong. But you're basically saying, oh, it matches the science perfectly, except where it doesn't. And then you just ignore it and say that the science is wrong and your book is right. Even though science completely disproves it. Because why not?
behold, I create heavens and a new earth. New heavens, new earth. The former shall not be remembered. As the new heavens and new earth which I will make, he said in Isaiah 66. Heaven and earth shall pass away. My word shall not pass away. So I will present a scientific theory. I believe if we start with the assumption God created the heaven and the earth, and then he stretched it out, like he said, well, all the science will fit that scientific assumption. You start with an assumption that we don't know where time, space, matter came from, but it's expanding away from each other. The galaxies aren't moving, but the distance between them is increasing.
Not knowing where something comes from is not an assumption. I just want to point that out. We don't assume we don't know. We just literally don't know. That's the thing. So this is why apologetics is the opposite to science and the problem with it. What we do is we observe what's around us and draw conclusions from observation, scientific experimentation, empirical research, data, all of this stuff combined to come up with a conclusion. What apologetics does is it starts with the conclusion first, and then it tries to fit everything to the conclusion. It's a backwards way of doing things. Because if your conclusion is wrong, even if it's completely wrong, you'll still be able to get some evidence for it, to fit some evidence for it. And that's what Kent's doing. He's going, oh, this is the conclusion. How do we get there? That's not a good way to research. A better way is to say, what do we observe? What conclusion does that lead us to? And that's how apologetics and science are antithetical to one another.
If anybody understands that, let me know. And all this heat and energy, not just all the mass, all the heat had to be in that initial dot. What's the total temperature of all the stars in the universe? Leo, you couldn't squeeze this rock into a dot smaller than a period on a page. I'll give you $1,000 if you can squeeze a gallon of milk into a dot the size of a period, let alone the whole Pacific Ocean.
I hate to break it to you,
Let alone whole
but,
Pacific Ocean.
I'll give you $1 million if you can squeeze milk into a dot. Checkmate, atheist. Okay.
Does that increase the protein content? Because if it does, I might just start inventing some things.
Like, seriously, does Leo have access to the gravitational mass in order to make that? No, he does not. If
Well,
you
I have
give
such a
him-
massive... No, I'm just joking.
I've heard that rumor. But look, this is the thing. Like, it is such a ridiculous statement because the forces involved are way beyond the capacity of one person. If you give him the gravitational and the same forces at the beginning of the universe, he could do that, right? If I had all the power of the singularity, yes, he could do that. Like, it's just such a dumb thing to say. It's like me saying to Kent, like, oh, if I would give you $1 million if you can lift a VW Beetle above your head. You can't do it, so it can't be done by anything. What are you? We can get a crane, you moron. Like, just because you personally can't do it doesn't mean that it can't be done. Like, what an idiot. Like, seriously, this guy, I swear, he is the dumbest. He is the dumbest creationist I've ever seen. Holy crap.
alone all the planets and all the stars, and Earth's a tiny planet compared to some of the big ones. You want to get all of that in a dot, just because you see universe expanding. I agree, it probably is expanding, but that doesn't prove it all came from a dot. If a car is going east on I-10 at 70 miles an hour, that doesn't prove he started in Los Angeles.
If fucking hell, this guy. Oh, I agree that all the shrapnel from what you say is the grenade is all moving outward, but that doesn't mean it all came from the central point that was the grenade. You have to work really hard to be this dishonest.
Oh, he's got a lifetime experience of being dishonest, Ember. I mean, he has mastered being dishonest.
Dishonesty
Bible says that.
personified.
You know what? I think we should give him a doctorate in dishonesty. I think he deserves it by now. I mean, just from, acquired learning, basically, I think we should give him that doctorate. Dr. Dishonest, Yeah.
Heavens are going to be dissolved, and he's going to make a new heaven and a new earth. He opened up the sixth seal, the moon became his blood, and the stars of heaven fell onto the earth. That's what it says in Revelation going to happen.
Oh, yeah, real scientific. His blood became the... Really? Do we have any evidence of that? No, you're just going to say it. And how is this rebutting Leo? This all he's doing is preaching, and it shows how lost he is. This is just preaching. That's all it is. It's making claims with no intention of backing it up with anything at all. It's baseless. It just, yeah.
So, Leo, I don't know if you're prepared to face God when you die. You will die one day. I hope it's a long time from now, but it'll happen. It's going to happen to me. Then what? Are you content with your religious belief, all the stuff you studied? Are you content that this is enough to say that God's word, my Bible's in the other room, you're content to say that you're going to reject the Bible, which millions accept, in favor of...
And this is really preaching. This is just, well, you're going to face God one day, and you're going to be unhappy and sad. Leo, have you thought about that? Oh, wow.
It all came from you don't know where, okay? The universe is not billions of years old. The Bible dates add up to about 6,000. Starlight distance does not indicate billions of years, does not prove it, and redshift does not prove billions of years. The planets cannot be billions.
Yeah, I don't. Yes, it can. That's exactly what it's evidence for. The planets cannot be billions of years old. Yeah, why? Because you don't forget, the only reason why he's saying they cannot be this thing is because his book says something different. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
That's the entire evidence. Because his book says that it isn't.
Of years old. They're losing heat. They're slowing down in their spin. The moon is getting further away from the Earth. Moon cannot be billions of years old. The Earth cannot be billions of years old. Life on Earth cannot be billions of years old. There's all kinds of scientific limits on these things. I'm sorry that you've chosen to believe that, but I think you're wrong. And I'm here to convert you tonight. Okay, go ahead.
All right.
Okay, well, that's about halfway. Actually, just halfway on the money. We will have to come back. It is getting a bit long. I do admit that. So we're definitely not going to finish it this time. So I'm going to stop it there. We will come back with a part 2 on Ember's channel. Presumably, if you're happy to keep going, Ember.
Of course. This has been fucking hilarious.
It's been ridiculous. Like, seriously, I don't know. It's
do you guys have a preferred
weird
day that you do these on? Do you typically do these on Saturdays?
We definitely do them on Saturdays.
Okay.
We always do them on Saturdays. It's okay if you can't. It's all right. We could, I'd love to have you on for this part 2. If you can't,
what
you
time
can't, that's fine.
would you want to start? Because if we start next Saturday, I could start at probably 8 p.m. Central, which would be 9 p.m. Eastern, because I'll be working and I won't get off till probably around 7.
That's up to Ember. I'm fine to do 9 p.m. Eastern, because that's 9 a.m. on my Sunday, which is fantastic. It's up to Ember whether she can swing it or not.
Right on.
Yeah, I think we might be able to get away with starting an hour late next week. Let me double check my schedule and see.
While you do that, I'm gonna point out a super chat by Jester. Jester says for $5 wrote one thesis, I guess, then a script, kinda. I think he stole his dad's notes. Okay, yeah, and has been acting the same part in the same play ever since. Babonk. Yeah, absolutely. No, I totally agree, Jester. I totally agree. This guy has not changed his script. And this is why he's got all these slides. The slides have not changed. Like, he has not altered one thing, updated it with new information, had more information on. I totally agree, Jester. It is... I've called him a broken record before, and I think it's very accurate. He really just goes over the same stuff ad nauseum. And the thing is, he's been corrected tons of times. And he just doesn't pay any attention. He just says the exact same things over and over and over.
Okay. Yeah, we should be good. I've got it set up for 8 p.m. Central Time. And I've already emailed the link to you guys, but I'll put the link for the YouTube in the chat in case anybody wants to hit the notify button and make sure they don't miss it.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. All right, well, that sounds like a plan. But yeah, so we'll see you next week, Leo. Coming up, where can people find you? What have you got coming up, Leo?
I don't have anything specific coming up. Once harvest is over and things, which I work part-time anyway, but harvest is an interesting time of the year here in the rural Midwestern United States. So after that, I'll be able to settle into a more steady schedule, and then I plan on producing a bit more content.
Beautiful.
Things have just been different over the last couple of years, moving and everything, and switching jobs and a bunch of different stuff. But I'm hoping I can get into more of a steady schedule and actually start producing content. I don't know what's going to come out. It'll probably be a response to somebody or something political. Who knows? I've wanted to do a stream outlining how the United States is clearly devolving into autocracy. I just haven't had a lot of time to get around to that. But I would like to do something like that. You can find me on YouTube. My channel is @Leophillius. You can just youtube.com//C/Leophillius. I would say spelled the way on the screen, but my name is not currently Leophillius in Restream. But the link I believe is in the title
title,
video,
yeah.
So
yeah.
if you click on
so
that,
it's
you
right in the
channel.
title. You'll go straight there, and I highly recommend. Fantastic. Ember, what have you got coming up?
Oh, bunch of goodies. Evening Ember tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern. If I have the mental wherewithal to do it, we're going to be talking about hate and bigotry in workplaces and stuff, because it's not just me dealing with that shit. If I can't, then I'll come up with a backup topic and we'll have a fun time instead. But Monday through Friday, I do a morning show, for lack of a better term, at 11 a.m. Eastern every day. Sometimes a bunch of other ladies show up. Sometimes it's just me. You never know what you're going to get. But that's called Hot Topic, and we have a different topic every day, which hopefully you find it entertaining, and I hope you'll join me for that. I also do Good News over on the Transpositions Weekly. That's usually every Thursday at 8 p.m. on its own. I do a bunch of stuff. All my links are on betterthanember.com.
betterthanember.com. Beautiful.
Okay, wait. I got a question for Ember. Did you get that thumbnail up in like the 3 minutes from the site? Did you really? Holy shit! That is an incredible turnover rate.
The fastest Photoshopper in the West. I had that prepared before we started because we were definitely going to do a part 2. I just didn't publish it until we were definitely going to do a part 2, you know?
Okay, awesome. I was going to say, god damn, that is quick.
Nice. So I've got coming up tomorrow. It's going to be fun. It's going to be Hovind again. So apparently this is Hovind weekend, I gotta say. But it is definitely my birthday. I will be turning 49 this year, which is just crazy.
You're older than the universe, Mark.
Apparently so. Apparently I was created on day 1. I don't know. Okay, so apart from that, I've got aimbot and fundamental stars, and I do want to do something on what that person was saying about Jesus being something just ordinary kind of thing. So I'd like to do that. So, but I am working on it. And do like, subscribe, go over to Leophillius and Better Than Ember. They're in the title. Just click on them, go over, subscribe to them because they're great channels. Really like them. But don't forget, always be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. Like and subscribe. Be kind to me. I like people being kind to me. Don't be kind to Kent. He's never kind to anybody else, as you saw throughout this. It was all very dishonest tactics, and don't be kind to con men. They don't deserve it. The kindest thing you can do is call them on their bullshit, quite frankly, so they don't keep doing it. But yeah, take care, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye, everybody.
She